This week in PlayStation, we're talking about a new PlayStation Rewards program, The Last of Us Part 1 going gold, and let's play a Price is Right game with The Last of Us Part 1, God of War Ragnarok, and Curse to Golf. We'll have all this and more because this is PS I Love You XOXO. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Greg. That's Janet. That's our guest. Podcast Beyond's Jonathon Dornbush, but we'll get to that in a second. And of course, you can get this show on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. There, you can watch us record it live, get it ad-free, and get the weekly post show. If you have no bucks to toss our way to support us, it's easy. You can go to the Epic Game Store, Fortnite, or Rocket League, and use the creator code KindaFunny. Of course, you can get PS I Love You XOXO for free with ads and without the post show on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Fargo Brady, Delaney Twinning, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, Gordon McGuire, Al Tribesman, The Predator. Today we're brought to you by ExpressVPN, MeUndies, and Athletic Greens, but let's start with a PSN message from you. Jonathon Dornbush, it does me well to see you. How are you?
It does me well as well. It's good to see you both. How are you both doing?
Hanging in there, you know? Janet, how you doing?
We're doing our best. I'm doing good. I bought the Lego tall neck.
Oh!
I bought the big boy.
Nice. It's so good.
I was like, I gotta stop just buying bad stuff and saving my money. And I did add more to my savings, and then I also spent the equivalent on this big boy. So I'm doing pretty good.
I appreciate. Yeah, I saw you do on your Twitter. You're doing your little budget there, and for a trip in 2024, you put $10 into that, and then here you are buying a Lego tall neck.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to Italy off $10. It's gonna be kind of rough, and I'm like, okay, I'm only and I even set it on the app to like, in 2024, and it like calculates how much you need. Only $295 shy of being on pace. So I got what are we at? July 14th? Let's see how the show goes, and we'll see what we can do.
Jonathon, if people don't know you, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Hello. Well, I guess Beyond. First and foremost. Beyond. I am over at IGN. I am our senior features editor. Right now, a one-man games features editor team since Lucy O'Brien had to leave me. But I also...
That rough working with you, huh? She just had to get out. She's like, I'm out of the game entirely.
Yeah, I wouldn't shut up about Kingdom Hearts, and so she was like, I finally had it. But no, I run our games feature stuff over there. I also am our PlayStation lead, so I host Podcast Beyond, of course, and do a bunch of all of our PlayStation coverage over there. Yeah.
What's your favorite game of all time?
All time, right now, and I'm gonna sound like a shill, but right now it sits at God of War 2018.
That's right. This guy knows. This guy knows Janet.
Yeah, I know. I have like Jack and Daxter. It's not even close to as good as God of War.
I'll take that.
It's a feeling, not a thought.
It's fair.
Favorite game.
Fair enough. And then right now, what's game of the year for you?
Right now, I mean, I feel like Elden Ring has to be the obvious answer.
Sure.
Even though I haven't.
Do you think God of War or Last of Us Part 1 has a chance?
I think God of War does. I think there's too much volatility around TLOU, but I think God of War, if any game this year has a chance, it's that one. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, diving into the PSN message from you, ladies and gentlemen, that was sent over on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. Marty Primmett says, hearing
Nailed it.
that I want to think about it, Janet. I get there. I don't mean to screw up everybody's last name. I'm just bad at it. Bad at reading. Hearing that we are not getting a new Infamous or Sly Cooper game sucks. I understand the business reason, but it still sucks. This got called out in another question too, where like, you guys never talked about this in the show. So much happened in PlayStation the past couple weeks. You never did. So if you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to Polygon, where Anna Diaz writes, Sucker Punch has quashed rumors that the studio has been working on reboots for either the Infamous and Sly Cooper franchises on Friday. The studio, which is known for creating Ghost of Tsushima, said in a blog post that it currently has no plans to revisit either franchise. The company cited a need to devote its teams to larger and more complex projects that require the full attention of the studio. Quote, with our focus on our current project, we have no plans to revisit Infamous or Sly Cooper right now, and no other studio is currently working on projects related to those franchises either. The clarification comes after a sprinkling of rumors that either franchise could be making a comeback. In May and March, an outlet reported rumors of a new Infamous game following tweets from an industry insider account, NGT, that claimed an announcement of a new title would be coming this year. Andrew Goldfarb Garfep himself, a communications manager at Sucker Punch, tweeted that he hoped that the clarification would put some misleading rumors to bed. Jonathon Dornbush from IGN's Podcast Beyond. Does this suck?
I mean, to quote Marty, yeah, it sucks. And to quote Brian Altano on Beyond, it just sucks. I mean, I think it's good that they put that stuff to bed. I know how like hard messaging like that can be to actually get out there. But it seemed to be spiraling so far out of control. I get that they felt like they needed to just put a stamp on it. I think for me, it's Sly Cooper. I kind of understand why Infamous is put to bed at the moment for them, but I think Sly Cooper, especially with like the revival of Ratchet and Clank and things like Astro's Playroom being really popular, I think there is room for a Sly to exist. I think like for Janet, Jack and Daxter in the PS2 era, Sly Cooper was that for me of those games. And so I would love a new one, but I also very much understand after the sheer massive success that was Ghost of Tsushima, they aren't focused on that.
Expound for me, to quote Jared Petty, expound why does no Infamous make sense to you?
I think in terms of like where the video game market and the video game space is right now, especially with PlayStation having such a dominant control with Spider-Man, with Wolverine, I think there is such demand and attention around those games, and trying to say, we also have our original superhero series on the side here for you to be interested in, might just be a confusing messaging thing at the end of the day. I could see like how there's a top level sort of discussion of, well, we have superhero games that are the biggest franchises.
We have superhero games at home.
Exactly. And I think like I loved a lot of the work that they continue to do and iterate on with Infamous, but I think like where PlayStation is right now, I can see why they're like, well, we're going to focus on the Marvel stuff that is the biggest franchise in the universe.
Makes a lot of sense. Janet, you agree?
I like to quote Keegan Hill in the chat, who says, "It sucks and is a punch to the gut." Very cute. You definitely had that in your back pocket for some time. I feel like it's, to speak to what Dorno mentioned, it's nice to have like the clarification out there. I feel like that being said, hope will never truly die for fans. Like they're like, what could they mean when they say no plans? I think there's definitely always going to be that lingering request. Exactly.
Could be working on in the future.
They're like, what could this? Well, they could mean anything by this. But yeah, I think in terms of moving the studio forward, though, too, I think you can't do everything all at once. And I think I'd rather see them continue to like move forward in the current projects they have and the current ideas they have than try to necessarily resurrect something old. I think with the Ratchet and Clank comparison, it is more that Ratchet and Clank has managed to stand the test of time as essentially a mascot platformer, despite being a mascot platformer, right? It's kind of the remaining one. It never really went away, even when it was quiet for a while. There's a cajillion entries into that. It is why I've have a lot of history with that franchise and why I like left and can come back at any time. It's feeling like it's Pokemon length where you can just dip out and dip back in and come back in whenever. But yeah, the idea of them doing that with Sly or Infamous, I just don't think it would necessarily translate like that. I also think for Sly Cooper, you don't really see a mascot platformer go quiet and come back. I think especially just the genre isn't as popular as it once was.
Remember that happened already. We had Sly Cooper go dark and come back, right? We had, it go quiet after Sly 3 and then come back with Thieves in Time, which was a well-received game and people enjoyed it, but it just must not have done gangbusters. It didn't.
There's two with Crash 4. There's examples of things, but yeah, this makes sense, even though it is like a bummer for people that were fans. I still need to go back and actually finish the old Sly Cooper games because I started those back when we did our PS Now review, and I hadn't finished it. But I was having fun. It was a good time. Still enjoyable. Still enjoyable today, though hard. Probably hard then as well. It's very easy to die and not progress in that game, but I had a good time.
Yeah, yes. They are unforgiving. That's great. Put it, Dornbush. Yeah, for me, that's the thing. Well, it's interesting because when this happened, when the Infamous stuff broke, because that's the lane I'm in when it comes to this. I enjoy Sly. I played Sly back in the day, but I was never a huge Sly fan. I was always a Jack and Daxter person. When this popped, like I did not at any point go, "Oh man, this sucks." That was never my interpretation of it. I was like, oh man, cool on the messaging front from Sucker Punch to do this. We always say we want more clarity from game developers. And also, clarity in terms of what you're working on and then clarity on what you're not working on makes sense, especially when I mean, you throw a rock on any given day on Twitter, you hit a video game rumor. But like, I hadn't seen this picking up steam to the point that I thought they had to go in and address it and say anything about it. I'm glad they did, because clearly they're watching their channels. They're seeing their audience get, twisted up about it. They're seeing articles, I guess, get written up about it and where it's going to go. Infamous always came around, though, as just the remaster. That's all I want from Infamous. I don't need a new Infamous, because you're right, Dornbush. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Where Infamous is such a glimpse at a different time. Like, I remember, obviously, I reviewed Infamous. I did a whole bunch of coverage for IGN with Infamous back in the day, and I was so stoked and excited for it because we were not getting good superhero games. This is still the land of licensed IP and just crap that was getting put out, right? And so the idea that there was going to be a first-party, owned and operated PlayStation superhero game sounded so cool and so exciting, and yeah, let's go. And it was the idea that, like, it was them making their own cola because they couldn't have Coke. And now we're at a point where Coke and Dr. Pepper and every other soda you want under the sun is there on being made. I'm like, Marvel Games is doing a lot of great stuff. DC, bless their heart, tries sometimes. We will see what Gotham Knights sets out to be. We will see what Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman come out to be. But they're happening. And so as you get to not what I would say is a saturation point by any stretch of the imagination, we're not there yet. Like, people keep saying there's going to be a saturation point for superheroes in cinema, right? We're not there for movies, but we are, or video games. We are there in a way that, like, does PlayStation look at Infamous and be like, we need another crack at that? There's more juice in that orange, when I don't think there is, really, because I personally think that Infamous 1 and 2 were so great, and then Second Son was fine. Like, I think First Light was better than Second Son was, and it's this thing of, at no point, especially the way they made that and they did that journey, do I sit there and have, oh man, I wonder what Fetch is doing now. I wonder what Delson Rowe is doing. And then it's like, well, are you rebooting it? And then you're just telling Cole's story again? At which point, then just, remaster the other games and put them out, which I still think will probably happen one day, unless they really get their shit together on backwards compatibility and everything that's going on with PlayStation Plus and yada, yada, yada. But, like, I'm not clamoring for that. I was way more interested in what they did with Ghost of Tsushima. I'm way more interested in what they do with the Ghost of Tsushima 2 and these rumors and job postings for a multiplayer aspect that you assume is also Legends, but maybe something different for the game. That gets me going. I'm glad to see Sony still not be afraid to let first parties do something different. I think that was always such a cool thing we saw, where you look at what these studios made on PS1, what they made on PS2, what they made on PS3, with and the list goes on of as generations have gotten a bit messier, there's been the bleed over, but it's not that Naughty Dog is still making Crash. Naughty Dog is still making Jack. They're able to, and they can stop Uncharted, maybe, kind of. We'll see what happens with that. That's where I come down on it. So I didn't think it sucked, but nice of them to say it. And then Sly, y'all should have bought Thieves in Time more if you wanted it. And now, y'all put your chips on Ratchet and Clank, and that's what you'll get every so often. Not all the time. I digress. Jonathon Dornbush.
Yes.
Are you ready for topic of the show?
Absolutely.
Topic of the show today is going to be a game. All right. We're going to play what I'm calling the Price is Right PlayStation 5 edition. We're going to play a modified version of High-Low. Janet, explain High-Low to everybody.
Of High-Low?
Yeah, explain the Price is Right game, the High-Low. I know you're a big fan.
You mean like if you go, it's who's closest.
There's a list of 11 games I'm going to read off, ladies and gentlemen, and what all three of us will do. I was set up for
that. I was not prepped for whatever that was.
Yeah, I definitely threw you out into the wind just to see what you would do. I'm going to read the list of 11 games. Then each one of us will pick 5 games. The idea here is that we are picking these games and ranking our 5 from best to worst on Metacritic. We are making a prediction. This is a time capsule episode. What is on the line, Dornbush? You tell me. What are we betting?
Ooh, anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, within reason. I'm not going to send you a PlayStation 5 or something.
Our podcasts. No,
I was going to say.
We're racing for pinks. If we win, we get beyond. If you win, you get
I love you.
I mean, I guess have fun doing an extra show every week. Oh boy, what do you get?
I always do.
A free tweet of your choice within reason from the other 2 people.
Oh, okay.
You can have them tweet whatever you want within, relative.
Yeah, you're not going to say something horrible. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I agree to these terms. Janet, do you agree to these terms?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So the idea, like I said,
can we clarify though something?
Yes.
Right, we're posting up this tweet. Are there rules about replying to it? Because I've seen these Twitter bets go down where then they immediately reply like, "They made me say this," or I don't really mean this, y'all. I feel like we should kind of
Yeah.
Can we just not do that?
What if we
Just
put
like,
that we can agree to a hashtag we put in there so people will know that this is and not to mention, I assume
yeah.
Dornbush will come back to the show and we'll all tell what the tweet is and people know it's spawning out of there or whatever.
Yeah. But I agree. Yeah. There's no kind of like post the tweet and then go back on it like, oh, that was just a goof. Don't want that. You got to put it out there as it is. And
Fair enough. So again, 11 games I'll read off that are still coming this year. Then each one of us picks 5 and ranks it from the best Metacritic to the worst. Now, to be clear, your list doesn't have to be the best games. You're just trying to get your personal order correct. So that the idea is that at the end of the year, when all these games have been reviewed, we can look at it and go, oh, your ranking was right for 4 out of 5, so you get 4 out of 5 points or whatever.
And it's just free game on the. Well, obviously it's free game because there's only 11 anyway. So split
yeah. You can
like,
double up and stuff. Of course,
it's not
this
like
is
gym
a podcast
class where it's like I called up Callisto Protocol.
I thought about trying to do that, like breaking out 15 and doing it that way, but I was like, where's the fun of that? And you might say, well, what if there's a tie then? What if there's a tie? The idea there is that we will go through and you will be asked what you think the Metacritic will be for what you're picking there. Ooh. So that you can then go, okay, cool. And then if that you can get bonus points that would only really apply if in a tiebreaker situation for what was going on with your thing.
Ignore me copying and pasting different pieces.
Does this make sense to you, Janet? Does this make sense to you, Dornbush?
Yes.
Barrett, are you keeping up with what I'm putting down?
I try, but you're just so fast, Greg.
I appreciate you. You'll pick it up. It's like Back to the Future. You'll pick it up as we go. Remember that when at the end he's like, he just starts playing Chuck Berry. These guys wouldn't know how to keep up with it.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for the end of Back to the Future 1.
Yes.
Good Lord.
I like to just say that whenever there's anything about anything, just periodically.
It's a 37-year-old movie, Janet.
Was I wrong though? I may be unreasonable, but I'm not wrong.
Your 11 games begin like this. The Last of Us Part 1, of course. Number 2, God of War Ragnarok. Number 3, Saints Row. Number 4, The Callisto Protocol. Number 5, A Plague Tale Requiem. Number 6, Cult of the Lamb. Number 7, Rumbleverse. Number 8, Curse to Golf. Number 9, Soul Hackers 2. Number 10, Marvel's Midnight Suns. And number 11, Gotham Knights. Chat, you're welcome to play along as well as we play this The Price is Right PlayStation 5 edition. Remember,
it gets tricky as you move down that list.
Oh yeah.
It does. But remember, but here's the thing is what I'll go first to give you an idea of how my mind is working on this, all right?
Okay.
I look at this list and I say, interesting. How do I want to do this? How do I want to play it? I want to go to what I think will be the game with the worst Metacritic. I want to start with my number 5, right? And that's where I start debating Saints Row versus Gotham Knights. And I get into this mix-up of where do I think it's going to net out, where do I think it's going to go, who's going to actually have it.
Wait, so the bottom is, we're trying to think of, so of these 11 games, we're picking a few of the best and a few of the worst.
You can, it's
What's
up
the
to you.
middle going to be?
You can, exactly. You can totally skip the middle, right? You can do 5, but then you're into a situation of, all right, is God of War Ragnarok going to do better than Last of Us? Is it going to do better than this? How do you?
Okay, wait. So now I think it's funny because you're like, do you understand? And I'm like, absolutely. And then it's like any shitty student, I'm like, hold on, I have a question. You're like,
I love it.
Questions is over. I'm grading papers now. Is the way to win just to have them? Oh, they are in order. Like they went from high to low. Yep. That's it. It doesn't matter how we get to that order.
It's your personal thing. You're not trying to nail the game for all 11 of them.
So for example, let's say God of War comes out, it gets a 99 on Metacritic, right? It's crazy. Yeah. The website broke or something. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't need to have that on my list though to win this because I just need to have a high to low.
This is a personal version. At the end, basically, where when it's all said and done, at the end of God of War Ragnarok crosses the finish line last at November 13th, right? We can double back and we can go and put the Metacritics right. Huh?
Callisto in December.
Damn it, you're right. I did miss that. December 2nd. So December, when we have nothing to talk about on this podcast, we'll double back and we'll put the Metacritics next to it and you'll see that, it should go Metacritic descending order. Right? Yeah. Start at the top, go to the bottom.
Okay. This is actually very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my whole thing is to start with, Saints Row versus Gotham Knights. And again, I said, show your work. This is the podcast. Don't just say, give me 5 games and walk away, Dornbush. All right. I don't know how they do it anymore on podcasts, man. But Gotham Knights obviously has not looked that impressive when we look at it. I don't think it looks terrible. I don't think it looks like it's going to be a train wreck or anything, but I don't think it's going to compete necessarily with these games on a Metacritic level. And then of course it has the legacy of Arkham to contend with, and the fact that it's still WB Montreal, right? It's still not the Rocksteady team. It's not starring Batman, even though he's gonna pop up at some point in this goddamn game. Even they act like
it's going to be graded on a curve that's going against it, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely like.
Sorry.
I was just gonna add to like what you were pointing out with Gotham Knights. I think too. Generally, I do like to think that like as critics, we, as an industry, do our best to assess things based on what they are, the game you get, not the game you want, etc.
Sure.
I do think Gotham Knights, though it's just tainted enough that like people are ready to pull the trigger on it failing, which is not to say that, that means all reviewers are like biased towards being negative towards this game. I just feel like the conversations have already been so negatively charged. It's not going to be that wild if it comes out and it's not blowing things out of the water in terms of score.
And then Saints Row just seems, and I don't know, dude. And like it's that thing every time I talk shit about Saints Row, somebody comes at me. But it's just like it looks, and I feel
it's given low to mid 7, like safe 7,
generic,
fun times,
right?
But I don't think it's gonna blow people out of the water and hit on those
I'm not
eights.
watching Saints Row coverage with like bated breath. Like I'm not on top of everything they've put out. Like I was at I think I said leading into Summer Game Fest. I'm like, maybe this just gets delayed again. Like I made that as one of my dumb predictions, right? But even just looking at like Barrett has footage pulled up and it's like, cool. Like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It doesn't. I don't look at this and like, oh man, I can't wait to play that.
The last beat they did was hands-off coverage, I remember. I think Simon Carty did it for us, and he came away like relatively positive on it, but I agree with you. I think there's like so much I mean a different expectation around this one, but I think there are certain expectations for what Saints Row is, what it became, what was good or bad about that. And also there, like when this game was first launched, right or wrong, there was a very volatile reaction to it, at least that we saw. In comments and everything, and I don't know how that colored the conversation going forward. I feel like Saints Row has been fighting against here's what the game actually is going to be.
It's one of those I look at it and it's just like I get like Watch Dogs Legion vibes, where I'm like, it looks totally cool, competent in that. Like right now we're dragging this safe and smashing up tent, like cool. Like, do I want to do that for 30, 40 hours or whatever? And I don't even know, I'm talking on my ass how long they've said it is and stuff like that. But then it's got like Gotham. Then I think I Gotham Knights, Janet. I just remember that horrible fucking UI, Barrett. What are they thinking with that UI, Barrett?
I really don't know. I think it hurts for me to say. It hurts for me to say, Greg, because I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help everybody out because I always play both sides in any competition here at KindaFunny. Because I always win. I think, at least from what I've seen of both of these games, I feel like Saints Row at least understands and knows more of what it wants to be rather than Gotham Knights. And I think that will help it above Gotham Knights when it comes to reviews. Like, again, Saints Row will probably not set the world on fire. Bless is really excited for it. When those most recent previews came out and we saw more gameplay and just how silly it was, like, I got more excited for it. I was like, yeah, I'm down to just kind of, like, do dumb shit in this world. And I think that's going to help it with Gotham Knights. I think Gotham Knights will have some cool things in it, but I do think there's at least the more systems that they show off, the more I'm like, all right, y'all had like a lot of ideas from like your last canceled thing or whatever the last thing you were working on and that you wanted to transfer over here without fully putting into thought of like, how is this going to all connect together in a really satisfying way?
It's tough though too when you consider like the Metacritic of it all, right? Which is kind of what makes it fun. It's not about what we think of these games. It's what do we think it's going to land. And I look at something like, Marvel's Avengers, which that one's a wild card because it's like there's the scores when it came out, and then there's the scores today, which reflect, compound everything. So definitely a big grain of salt there because I do not remember what it looked like when it came out. But like at the low end, it's like a 66. Yeah, it's
Avengers
like in the 60s.
It was high 7s, low 8s at launch.
Yeah, but that's also like that's interesting in that I think when you think of that game, you think negatively, pretty much. I think even you, Greg, who loves it, there's that there. Oh, am I muted?
No, I'm saying I was mouthing, not me.
Yeah, that's why I was like, and then I was like, can I not hear anything? I was like freaking out. Anyway,
this is how I shut down Avengers criticism now. I just act like I can't hear it.
What would actually be hilarious? Please don't do this to me on purpose later. Because I feel like I have, showed my hand of like, it takes not a lot to make me start panicking and just pushing buttons. But that game still sits, between like that mid 60 to like low 70, depending on the day, depending on the platform. So it's like, I don't know that like how bad are these not as good games going to be is where I struggle. For me, I'm really trying to figure out what that middle point's going to be, because I think I am going to land on is same 5 Gotham Knights, 4 Saints Row is what I'm leaning on. And then it's like, what do I think would be in the middle? And I'm like, how much are people gonna, I think Cult of the Lamb's gonna be good, but how much are people gonna like it and review it? And would that be high enough than like something like Saints Row, which I could see people really enjoying? And I think generally gets, generally gets more coverage too than something like Cult of the Lamb.
For me, I think I'm gonna put Gotham Knights at the bottom. I reserve my right to still switch it up. God of War at top. I think God of War is the highest Metacritic on this list so far. But right beneath that, I would say at my number 2, I'd slide in and put Cult of the Lamb there. At number 2. I just think that like that's previewing so well. Those kind of games do so well. Again, expectations of something small and indie. I see like Callisto Protocol's on that list and it's calling my name, and you know how much I'm excited for that game, how much I want that game. But I just feel like that has more of a chance of getting picked apart. Not picked apart in a bad way, but being like, oh, what about this and what about that? And I didn't like this and I didn't like the story beat here. Than Cult of the Lamb, where it's like, here's some really fun gameplay, and here's you going off and having your cult, and here's this really it's indie and it's small and it's colorful and it's great, and like, it's got this Souls-like thing, but it's also got this roguelike thing, and like I feel like that that is an easier and more forgiving genre sell pitch.
It's so cute too. It's so cute and dark.
Adorable.
I love it.
The indie games are sort of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, they're going to just have fewer reviews. So a review or 2 on Metacritic could drastically change the score in a way that
it's
it
a
won't
2
for
out
the
of 10.
games. Exactly. If someone gives it that, it affects it really greatly. But on the other hand, those indies also aren't going to be reviewed as so many people, and the people who are reviewing it are probably purposefully going out of their way to review it because of interest, either for them or for their audience. Like that's a thing that we have to make that judgment call all the time is, are the smaller games going to hit for us? Are they worth the whole review cycle to be able to do? And so I think that gets cycled in as well. And like you said, Cult of the Lamb is one where there is a lot of hype. There is a lot of interest. I think a lot of praise after that demo and everything. So I do think that is one that could lean toward the top for sure.
I think I'm going to leave, that one might be in my middle, because Callisto Protocol, I feel the same as you, Greg, where in terms of this competition of Metacritic, that's something that could come out and be a 9 for sure. It could also come out and be like a 7.5. I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I would skew it higher. Like, it looks promising. The people that are, fans of that kind of game seem like this is going to hit, but that doesn't mean it's going to hit, So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. Yes. I don't feel comfortable risking it on there. I think the diciest thing I have on my list right now, because I think I will maybe stick Cult of the Lamb in that middle section, is putting Last of Us Part 1 at number 2, because I wonder, are people going to be, how are people going to, I'm going to do it because I think I'm just going to live that way. And also I want our list to be a little different. I think there will be natural crossover with the low and the high, because God of War is an easy number 1. The Last of Us 1, I don't know how people will review it, like how much it'll be, on Can Joel Crawl, which sounds dumb in isolation. But I do wonder, like, how much is that going to be weighted? Like, how much are they going to care about where it stands versus like the PS3 version? How much is it going to be like that first time experience? It's the great debate on how you even approach a review of a game like this.
If you, Janet, if you'll allow me, I'd like to dip into this week in PlayStation, where I do have a Last of Us rock block for you, but I'll call out this part while you talk. All right. Vicky Blake at Eurogamer writes, Last of Us Part 1 remake is not a cash grab, says developer. The developer who worked on Naughty Dog's upcoming PS5 remake of The Last of Us Part 1 has hit back and claims it's just a cash grab. In a tweet on his personal Twitter account, Robert Morrison, whose credits include Resident Evil 7, Injustice 2, and Santa Monica Studios' 2018 God of War reboot, countered such claims by insisting it is the most meticulously built and crafted project that's had the highest level of care and attention to detail possible. Animator Morrison, who worked on The Last of Us Part 1 and now works at fellow Sony studio Ben, said, actually, it's the most meticulously built and crafted project that I've ever seen or been a part of in my entire career. Remember, he was part of God of War. Janet. All right.
And Injustice.
And Injustice.
So yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of a mix though still, but I think it'll come in at that like very low 90, and I'm hoping God of War will just be a little bit higher than that.
And that was one of mine too, where I was like, all right, cool. I think for me, God of War and TLOU were the front runners. Dornbush, does that track for you?
Yeah, I think God of War 1 was originally a 94 on Metacritic, or like stands there
Mhm.
currently. So that's kind of where my barometer sits right now, is I'm kind of knowing that.
Yeah, 94 right
Um,
now.
yeah. Um, I TLOU is the weird one because I totally agree with Jana. I do think like it is such and I think there are varied responses to how reviewers approach reviewing a remake. Like conversations about the worth of $70, all of that stuff aside, I think like a reviewer going in to criticize this as a remake, I think you get a lot of different reactions to that. And so I
Yep.
almost might not touch that one on my list because I
Me.
could see it going either way. I really could. Just
I'm
based
right
on
there
how
with
we
you.
did it.
That's why I'm not putting it on any of my list. And Ryan Paula Higgins in the live chat, of course, on patreon.com/kindafunny game says the original TLOU got a 95. It surely can't get a lower score.
Yes, it can.
Yeah,
Ooh,
100%
dog.
can.
I
Well,
think
'cause
it's
I would be
bring up-
shocked if it didn't get a lower score.
I think it's guaranteed to get a lower
Yes.
score than a
Yeah.
95.
I will bring
on
up a
Metacritic.
very real example here because I remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, the PS I Love You floor now recognizes Barrett Courtney from the great state of Hawaii.
Thank you. The biggest example I remember because it was my first week in at IGN, October 20. What was that, Dornbush? 16?
Yeah.
Lucy O'Brien was reviewing Batman Return to Arkham.
Solania.
Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are two of the most praised superhero games that I think on their own, let's see, on Metacritic, I think are both in the 90s. The Return to Arkham review score on Metacritic right now on PS4 is at a 73 and on Xbox a 77. And I think there's a lot more going into that of like they weren't like remakes. There was like some interest. There was like some weird lighting stuff that like I remember people pointing out. But just as a collection and as like a remaster, people are like, what was the point of this? And I do wonder if people are gonna kind of have that same head scratching moment while reviewing The Last of Us Part 1 of like, all right, it's prettier. Why? What was the point? So
I think
yet
for
to
me,
be determined, I would say.
like I have no doubt that they put the work in. Like I want to see it, what that gameplay, overhaul actually looks like, what those things are, and if that's great, I think it will be awesome. But I do think like we're looking at the original Last of Us. It was such a revelation for people. It was the hallmark of storytelling for gaming. It was praised on to such a level that I think no matter how good the work of the remake is, at the end of the day, from a critic's point of view, it's going to be looked at as a remake. And so I don't think it will ever be looked at the same. I mean, you can see like Sony does remakes all the time. Demon Souls has been received well. Shadow of the Colossus was received well. Like they do them, and I do think this will be a very good remake. But I do think a remake is still judged at a different barometer. And
100%. You can't have that initial splash, right? You don't
Yeah.
get that. It's like it's the same thing as always, right? You can't have a second first impression. Like this is still Last of Us.
I think too, again, like I don't know why we were talking about Metacritic a few episodes ago, but I mentioned that like also times change and the industry changes. There are way more people reviewing Last of Us remake than reviewed Last of Us when it came out. There's a way more diverse set of critics, and with that comes different perspectives on the story they're telling and how they go about telling it. There's like a million reasons why I don't think it's gonna. I would be shocked if it came out above the 95, especially too when I always point to the Last of Us 1 versus 2 comparison, which granted, I know some people don't like the story of Last of Us 2, but to me, I think that game is so clearly better than 1 and it scored lower on Metacritic. I don't think that means that collectively all critics, we've kind of agreed that that's a worse game. It's just, that's how numbers shake out. And they tend to skew lower, I think, in the modern era than they did looking at some of these older Metacritic review roundups.
So then, real quick, just to close the thing on this, will Last of Us Part 1 hit the original 95 on Metacritic? I say no. Janet, no.
It's going to be lower for sure.
Dorna says no, and then Ryan Paula Higgins says yes.
Someone in chat also said, what is it? The TLOU, if Joel goes under the car, is 10 out of 10.
But I mean, like, again, that's exactly what I think.
Crawl. I don't know.
That's what Barrett's talking about, and that's what we're talking about, right? Of like, if you pick this up and it's just a prettier version, but it's still all the same, you're moving the palettes around and like it's like these really not lame, but like definitely dated puzzles and stuff. It's going to be like, oh, well. Okay.
Yeah, you don't really get credit twice in the same way. And that's kind of my beef with, for Game of the Year stuff specifically, I don't really like talking about remakes for Game of the Year because I'm like, look, you made some great design choices 10 years ago. And we awarded you 10 years ago. And like, shout out to you making, your other stuff. But unless it's doing something that's starkly different.
Like Final Fantasy VII.
Like Final Fantasy VII remake, even though I'm not a Actually, I wouldn't put that game of the year for other reasons anyway. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII,
I'm
RE2.
with you on that personally as well. But because remake was so different from the original, I think it deserves to be on that conversation.
Or even RE2, where it's like there's a conversation to be had about that being a different enough game in that like it's hitting the same beats, but it's doing it in a way that's different in order to try to translate it to a modern era. Like there's a new interpretation of that base material. While this as much work as I'm sure they put into it and as much fun as I'm sure I'll have doing my replay there, hopefully better trophies, things like that, it's still not going to be like you're giving me a whole new idea or game or even maybe iterating as much on this version. So yeah.
Dornbush, where is your list sitting at then right now? We
got
off in this tirade.
It's in a very difficult state. I have God of War at the top. I'm debating on a couple in the middle. I think I'm leaning toward games I think are going to do well and trying to shift in what I think will do better than others. Right now, I have A Plague Tale at 2. I might move it down to 3.
Ooh.
The thing about that game, for me, we'll see either way, but I do think the original, since it came out, has only benefited from time. I think the conversation around that game has gotten so positive, and that brings a lot of expectations to Requiem. But I do think there is a hope that what they're doing there is sort of a big leap, and it seems like they are really making this a much larger game than the first one. And so if it's able to accomplish all of that, I do think it will be received pretty well. Granted, I don't know if it will be at second. I might move it down to third, but I do think this is one that's going to be received pretty well, and I feel pretty confident putting it toward the top half of my list.
Yeah, we keep talking about A Plague's Tale on this show. I had tried to get into Innocence a few times. It didn't work. I finally, when we watched this trailer and all this footage and the gameplay of it, it was this thing of like, I can't wait to play this, so I really need to go back. And during backlog week a couple weeks ago, right before a bunch of reviews came, I played through up till, I think I'm in chapter 4 now or whatever, and I'm enjoying it. I've gotten enough that I'm interested in the story. I will get back to it, but I'm not, I gotta play more of it. I can't wait to do. I'm not like insatiable about it. There's a bunch of other stuff that are reviews right now, and then other stuff that obviously I'm just playing for fun. And I haven't gotten back to it. I want to, but like even right there, I look at that, I'm like, that looks so much better than what I'm playing right now. Yes, I want to go play that.
Yeah, their ambitions, I think, exceeded their budgetary realization or realistic expectations for the first one. But it seems like they at the least have gotten more money to do this, more chance to kind of scope to what they want it to be. It could be a misfire. Like going to that expansive place might make it less fun for the people who love that first one. But at least like you, I very much have seen every trailer I see of it. I'm like, okay, it feels like they're really kind of nailing the promise of the first game here a bit more. So I'm hopeful about that one.
Okay.
Callisto Protocol I kind of want to put on, but I don't know where. I'm very much with you of like, I can't wait for that game. And it comes from the people who made Dead Space 1, and Dead Space is phenomenal. But can they recapture that in 2022?
It looks like they can, right?
How many of those people are there? It's always like, from the maker. And but
you got Glenn, you got Steve. I'm not sure what the whole makeup of the actual team is, when you get outside at lead positions, but they are there. The people who, I think made what Dead Space special. Some of the people who made Dead Space special are there. It's not just the one person, the figurehead. I think there is enough backbone there.
But there's just so much like stress whenever it's like from the creators of, and it's I don't.
And that's the thing, again, you talk about expectations. We're talking about a brand new studio in striking distance that has never made anything together, now having to go make something that has these expectations of what Visceral Studios was.
And it's so clearly you remember Dead Space, this is Dead Space, but a different thing. Like,
and so, right. Like to the UI on the back, let alone the kills and the stomping, like, it's going to be judged very much clearly to it. I still think that works in its favor because I think reviewers are going to be like, oh, it's a new team and it's a smaller thing and it is the people who made it. And then I think the Dead Space remake is going to be judged harsher.
Yes,
yeah, I think it's hitting a really specific lane, which is going to draw like reviewers that not that reviewers are not always like experts or have the expertise to do the review, because no one would accept a review being like, I don't actually know what I'm talking about for this genre. But it's a lot more of like a specific.
For the record, in the old days we used to, when Greg Miller was reviewing Valhalla Knights on PSP, like, I don't know why I gotta sign this, guys. I'm trying.
With there's always allowances to everything. Has a grain of salt, right? But like because it's a scarier game and it's like has a certain atmosphere and things, like people are going to be I think, real experts in that lane and be able to like speak to it, which you can argue is both a strength and a weakness to like how it'll perform on Metacritic, because those are also the people that might, you know, pick up on nuances that I would miss as like a more casual player to this field. But I think
I always feel that way with the horror games I like to play.
Yes.
Where it's like, all right, cool. Not a lot of people are going to go play Martha is Dead, which means that we're already here because we like goofy ass horror games. So what is that going to mean for the review?
Yeah. And like, where do you think that, how might that skew positively or negatively in your opinion, Greg? Do you think that's because it's specific that'll make it?
I think for Callisto, I think for Callisto, it would play to their favor. I loved Dead Space. EA killed Dead Space. Glenn left the team after Dead Space 1 because they wanted, and Steve left, and then Dead Space 3 wasn't what people wanted to be. And it's been years since we had a Dead Space, and now it's here. And is it Dead Space? I'm talking on my butt. I don't know, but even if but it's close, and I enjoyed it, and I liked, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there could be that undercurrent to the reviews as it goes.
For sure.
What game we haven't tossed in yet that I want to toss in that I am personally excited for, but I think has its work cut out for it, that I'm going to put above Gotham Knights at number 4 on my list, Rumbleverse.
Oh.
Rumbleverse is that battle royale professional wrestling game that I'm like, yes, 1000%, let's go. But it's an online game. It is it's going to launch. What is it? July? No, August. This is the trailer at the end. I think it's August 11th, right?
August 11th.
And it looks fun, but it also looks like, hey, you're playing Knockout City again, but you're not punching, or you're not throwing balls, you're punching. And like, that appeals to me. I'm stoked to play. I have not had a chance to do any of the betas, but like, we just saw Golden Boy. We see Sancho West right there. Like, our friends are playing it and enjoying it, but I still think it's going to be off-putting in the beginning to people. It's going to draw people in like me that want wrestling. It's going to draw people in that like that kind of stuff or enjoy Knockout City. But I still think when you review that, that's going to be one of like, all right, cool. But we're having fun with the core mechanics. The modes we want aren't available yet. I'm talking on my butt about that too. I don't know if that's actually been said, but you understand like how a game like this launches, a game as a service launches. I think that could be interesting.
I think that one's so slippery because I could see it really going either way, where Knockout City, like, for as much praise as that game gets, it's at an 80, which is not a bad score by any means. But again, it's about the game, right? Like, that can, you could see that being, maybe that's an 83 for Rumbleverse. Maybe Rumbleverse is like a 76. It's that one I feel like has so much risk involved that I wouldn't want to touch it unless I had like more space for it to swing in one direction or other. Like, honestly, I'm not confident I could guess that number.
My only concern with it is Gotham Knights, which is my number 5 game, where I could see Rumbleverse going below that. I could see, you know what I mean? I can see Rumbleverse getting, again, I'm with you. It could be a hit. It could do a whole bunch of different things. I could see it reviewing really well, but I could also see it reviewing low 7s.
I have only heard positive though from it, like of the people that seem to be playing it. Unlike, again, no offense, just drugging out other random online games, but like Roller Champions never really had a lot of positivity around it. Again, I don't actually know. I don't know what that Metacritic's sitting at. I guess I should look at that for some comparison points. But I've seen these conversations swing both ways, and for what it's worth, I do think Rumbleverse so far is swinging in the positive. Doesn't mean it'll be my kind of game or that I'll play it, but I think that speaks to there seems to be an audience there that likes this, that's enjoying it, that seems to feel like this fits. It does something unique to the space where I think there is a lot of replication in this kind of thing. It's a crowded market, and this seems fresh enough that people are digging into it and excited to play it.
Ryan Poala Higgins, of course, wanted to be the fly in the ointment in the live chat. Rumbleverse will be dead by December, Ryan predicts. Wow. And that's true. That could easily be true, but I'm talking about how it's going to review and what it's going to look like.
There's also there's dead by our perception, and then there's dead by actual numbers. And that's no shade to Ryan in the chat, but for me, there's games that I feel like I don't end up hearing about, but the player base is huge and they're doing just fine.
They're still making content for Knockout City, and we haven't played that
Knockout City is a good example of that. It's just not my genre, so I don't play that anymore. I only played Fall Guys a few times. That thing's massively successful. You know what I mean? I think there's the big conversation, and then there's the reality of what it's like from the business standpoint that we don't always perceive on when we're scrolling Twitter.
Janet, you did put Fortnite on the map, though. Don't forget.
Yeah, I did absolutely use Epic creator code GameOnasys. Friendship are kind of funny over. But Roller Champions, you know what it is. Roller Champions is at a 61 to 69.
And we said Knockout City was an 80. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and I think I feel like Rumbleverse is gonna do well. I would be my guess. I just don't know how well or how low.
The reception around Rumbleverse has been much more positive. Mitchell Saltzman liked it, and I trust Mitchell Saltzman.
Oh my God, Mitchell Saltzman liked it? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
The Mitchell Saltzman?
The Mitchell Saltzman.
Look, Mitchell Mitchell knows a lot of shit, but like when Mitchell like steps up with these like niche games, I'm like, what does Mitchell have to like? Mitchell's definitely one of those critics where I feel like he has such a specific and in-depth kind of knowledge that I really do just trust his criticism for what he has to say when he puts something out there. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, like that's interesting.
Okay. Janet, have we gone through your entire list? I'm looking at it.
I think so.
I feel like you hemmed and hawed.
Yeah, I did hem and haw. I tend to do that here and everywhere in my day-to-day. I have my list.
Anywhere you can find her making content, ladies and gentlemen, she's hemming, she's on.
I'm actually just like this also outside of content, which is highly annoying for everyone in my apartment. But I got the list. I don't know when we want to run through it front to back or whatever, but I have my list ready to go.
Go for it. I still need to pick a third. I have to pick dead center, but yeah, where are you at right now?
Are we going high to low or low to high?
Let's go high to low. And if your list is locked, this is where you need to lock in your Metacritics at the end of every. So for the extra point / tiebreakers. I know you weren't ready for that, but now you should be.
You know what? It's fine. We will work through it. God of War Ragnarok is my one, and I'm gonna put that. What's God of War 2018 at? 94, right?
94.
Oh man, this is painful. I'm gonna say. Oh, I'm between 92 and 93. I'm gonna say 93. No, I'm gonna say 92. Damn it. I don't know. I'm gonna put 92. We're putting 92. The Last of Us Part 1. Man. I'm gonna. Sorry, I muted myself, but I have my thing hotkey to
I thought you were just thinking real hard. You know, it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dramatic suspense. 91 for Last of Us Part 1. Cult of the Lamb. I'm gonna put that at an 86.
Okay.
Saints Row is my next one. I'm going to put that at a 76. And Gotham Knights, I'm going to put at a 72.
Okay. So God of War Ragnarok is your number one.
It sounds real, right?
All of this, you can see it in the, as we shake our crystal ball and look into it. Cult of the Lamb, Saints Row, and Gotham Knights. Okay. Oh, look, you had one. You had one ready to go.
Yeah, it's not Crystal. It's the little lazy egg guy, but he's a magic egg guy. Yeah, the Gudetama. It's a little character.
What's a Gudetama?
Like, that's this guy.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, the little egg yolk man, where he does like...
he's got a butt.
Yeah, he's got a butt. He does like little sexy poses.
You know, I don't think they really did his butt justice in this one, so, there's no butt here, but normally you see the little booty
Greg,
cheeks.
there's a bookstore in Japantown that you need to go into. And
I know.
Have a bunch of
I know the bookstore.
Yeah. They'll have a bunch of those little.
Have you really never seen this guy before?
I'm not familiar with this man. No.
This is interesting.
Sorry.
All right.
Last
Anyway,
time I was in Japan, I don't think it was a big deal yet. Dornbush, what's your list? Highest to lowest. What are your Metacritics?
So I shook out the rest of it. Sticking with God of War Ragnarok at number one. Also, I wrote down 92 before it was said on the show, so I still am keeping it 92.
I also didn't look at your thing. I saw you typing. I didn't look though.
I respect. I believe.
We love people copying each other here. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Then I did TLOU Part 1 at 91. Cult of the Lamb. No, I'm just reading Janet's list. I did A Plague Tale Requiem next. I'm saying 86. Then I'm going the Callisto Protocol. I'm being hopeful, but I said 84. I think it will be in the low 80s.
Okay.
But, I'm putting 84, being optimistic. For the last two on my list, Total Shots in the Dark, also partially because they have not been discussed on the show yet, so I felt like I wanted to include them. Soul Hackers 2, putting it 81.
81, okay.
I think the previews were pretty positive on that one. I do think it's one that it's going to be people who know the genre, know that type of game, are interested in it, are going to be reviewing it, and if it holds up all the way through, it will be pretty well received. I would assume around an 8. I could see it drop below, but I think that one's kind of going to be on the line there.
I hope so. Yeah, when we played this at Summer Game Fest, I liked what I saw. I enjoyed it, but then it was like I had that personal feeling. I should just go back to Persona 5, I guess, if I'm going to even think about. If I'm thinking about playing this thing, and then of course, a week later, they're like, "Guess what? Persona 5 Steam Deck." I was like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah. And then number 5, I put Midnight Suns because we haven't addressed it.
Yes, we have not addressed Midnight Suns.
I really don't know how this one's going to shake out. I put it at a 75 for now. I think Firaxis is generally pretty well received, and I think if they're probably making a game, they have a lot of trust. Like, they are a really well respected and beloved developer, but I know that card system has been very controversial to people. And I do think even if it's amazing, I think it's not going to work for some people.
For sure.
And so I think that could lead to some division in the review scores. I'm really excited for it, actually. I've learned recently that I like strategy games. A Marvel strategy game seems very exciting to me, but I do think it's not going to hit for everyone.
100%.
So I think this one is going to be somewhere in the 7s. if it does better, I would love to see it. But I think like seeing it somewhere in the 7s overall, and I think probably below the other games. But I still hope like it's one I hope is good and I hope is better than that. And I trust that developer. But I could just see the discussion around it kind of leading to some people not really clicking with that system at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. When we went through and looked at it, like it's what's the name of the one I'm thinking of? What was the really bad X-Men one from Silicon Knights?
Oh, Destiny.
X-Men's Destiny. Yeah, it like kind of gives. It doesn't give those vibes when you're like, oh, it's a new character in the Marvel universe, and you get to play as that, make your decisions around it. Like that can cut both ways. And for me, I'm hoping it's the positive side. I like that idea. I like the going through and building a team and doing that thing. And like, yeah, I'd prefer it if it was just third person action. I get to go through and play in real time or whatever. But the card stuff looks cool. Like it looks neat. And I'm usually for me to get into a new genre or a genre that usually doesn't appeal to me, it needs to be an IP I care about. And this is an IP I care about. So I'm pretty stoked when I see, like we saw in that clip right there, even, Wolverine knocking the barrels into people, Cap using the shield, like, okay. And if I'm not even doing a bit. If I really want the third person stuff, go play Avengers, go turn that on and go grind that out, or Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Me and Barrett need to get back to our Fantastic Four playthrough, but like those games exist. I can go play those. And this is something new to try. And I'm hopeful for it too, but I don't have a read on it. That's why I'm keeping it off my list, where it's like, I feel like it could go either way. Yeah. For me, the list, top of it, God of War Ragnarok, I'm putting a 91 on. Cult of the Lamb at number 2 with an 88. Then I'm doing number 3 when we haven't talked about Curse to Golf. This little indie people like. I put an 80 on it. We played it on the stream and I liked what I played, but like it was one of those where I feel like, is that going to last the entire way? Is that going to be an enjoyable experience throughout? Is it just enough there? And then also, yeah, that's a game I think that's going to bring in people who are down for this kind of experience, who aren't down for this, who want a different kind of golf experience than what you're getting here, because this is not traditional golf in any way, sense, or shape or form. Like, it'll be interesting to see what that did, and I think it's a good mid thing. I think, if anything, I would expect to be wrong on this one about the Metacritic score. I think I might be under doing. I can see an 83 or something as well, maybe an 85. But I think I'm right on the placement in terms of my games. I think that's going to end up being number 3, but I don't know if I got the Metacritic right. But hopefully, I won't need it. And then number 4, I put Rumbleverse with a 71. And then at 5, I put Gotham Knights with a 70.
Ooh, those are so close.
I know, yeah. When I wrote it out, Janet, I wrote it out, and it's like, we'll look when we come back in December, we'll see if it bites me in the ass. But I wrote it out, and I'm like, maybe I should put Gotham Knights up at 4 and Rumbleverse down at 5.
Question for both of you, if you fail, what do you think is going to be the thing that messes you up? If you had to pick one thing to go wrong, where's the biggest flaw in the game that you got right now? For me, it's definitely the I think I'm gonna lean on the TLOU God of War thing, because there is a world where those could flip. I don't think they would, but I don't really know, and I have them actually only 1 point apart, so it's definitely like that end of the year list, Greg.
To your point, God of War, I think, is a really interesting one, because I have no doubt in that studio. I have total faith in them, but it does come with the biggest expectations. Yep. Like, my God, it has such a assumption of how good it's going to be. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from there.
Yeah, for me, I think that's. Hold on, I'm having a day over here. I'm asking if my wife wants special coffee. Because I'm dying for caffeine. God of War is so. God, like, what a terrible situation for it to be in. Yeah. The expectations are so high. We all universally are like, it's going to be number 1 and it's going to get 90s. And, when we did the God of War FAQ last week, and we were talking through stuff, and, well, what if it's this? And what if, it's your old Loki and you come back in time? Well, and it's like, or what's the flip side? What if this is incredibly straightforward? What if this is just Kratos and Atreus continuing their journey, doing this thing? They fight. And it's like, what if it's not bad, it's just more, it is just another very it's a straightforward, it's like, what if they don't land the ending? What if it becomes very clear, how they originally people thought it was gonna be a trilogy, they do the 2 games and like, we don't want to work on it for 15 years. What if it is like, man, they should have let some of this stuff breathe? But it's like, God of War, I could see be the one that, like, yeah, does throw all of our lists off, and it comes in at an 85 on a Metacritic, right? And it's just like,
I don't think it's gonna come in at an 85.
I'm just saying, man, it could happen. It could crumple under the pressure.
My guess is the lowest it would be like a 90. I struggle to imagine the world where no shade, but like, because you have like Cult of the Lamb at 88, Greg, like the idea of Cult of the Lamb scoring higher than God of War. Not that, you know, apples and oranges games, and like you score them separately. They're different games, different reviewers, different whole thing. But yeah, but I do think that because it can be in those low 90s to, I guess, craziest scenario, high 80. I don't know what people are going to say about TLOU 2 Part 1. I mean, that game is already kind of a known quantity in the content, but not in the presentation in this SKU. So I don't know what people are doing with that.
And I think that'll be more under a microscope because it's directly the same exact game. Whereas like with God of War, whatever it does differently, there is a little bit more of that expectation of like things will be different here and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a weird situation, but I don't think there's any chance that God of War is under The Last of Us at the end of the year.
Agreed. I think with God of War, the big question will be just, how different it is and what do people feel about those differences? Because it's like they're keeping it secret for a reason. They could be showing us a bunch of things. They're not going to.
That's my hope.
Look.
But I see that's the thing where it's like, it's what always happens with these kind of things because all we do is talk nonstop about this. And I don't even mean us in terms of personalities. I mean us as gamers. Where it's just like the fact that they're playing it so close to their chest and haven't shown so much makes me go, oh man, is there gonna be a big Metal Gear Solid 2 moment? Like, and it's like, what if no, there is not? That does not happen. And it's just like, oh, cool. This is fun, but it was, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you get in that weird spot of what you're expecting versus what you want, what it turned out to be.
I mean, getting Thor's hammer is going to be cool because that is almost certainly happening, I think. So,
but what if it doesn't feel as good as it does in Marvel's Avengers? That's the big question.
That's true.
That's the thing. That's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's cursed questions.
Oh man, what a year we still have for games. You feel like it's almost over, but we're really getting into the thick of it in a second here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in the thick of the show. And remember, if you were on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, you could be watching us record the show live. You could get it with the post show we do. You could watch the XCast record live on Fridays. You could get the Gamescast whenever we record it and it's not embargoed. But also on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, you get the show ad free. But guess what, Jack? You're not there. So here's a word from our sponsors.
Shout out to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode. I started taking AG1 because I'm not a big pill guy. I don't want to spend a lot of time on extra things, but I wanted to make sure that I was taking care of my health. Now, I've been using it the last couple months and I love it. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy. It has a fun tropical taste that I actually look forward to in the morning. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focused, and aging. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/kindafunny. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/kindafunny to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. athleticgreens.com/kindafunny. Shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode. When you use the bathroom, you always close the door behind you, right? Well, you don't want random passerbyers looking in on you, so why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Your internet service provider knows every single website you visit. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that your online activity can't be seen by anyone. I use ExpressVPN on all my devices, whether it's my phone, my desktop, everything. Anytime I'm using the internet, just because I am trying to stay as safe as possible. The best part is using ExpressVPN is as easy as closing the bathroom door. You just fire up the app, you click one button, and you're protected. It is so easy. It's the biggest button in the world. One click, you're done. So if you're like me and believe your online activity is your business, secure yourself today by visiting expressvpn.com/kindafunny. You can use our link, expressvpn.com/kindafunny, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/kindafunny. This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Are people still trying to make plans with you this summer? As if you aren't booked and busy already. But thankfully, MeUndies wants to help make this summer the most comfortable one you will never forget. Because when you're living your best life, the last thing you want to worry about is butt sweat. And I know that from experience. But you know what? MeUndies has always been there to help me. I'm always wearing my MeUndies shirts, my lounge pants, my lounge shorts, my undies themselves, the socks. I'm a MeUndies fanboy. Wouldn't have it any other way. I just absolutely love the soft micro-modal fabric. Find your ultimate summer comfort in sizes extra small all the way up to 4XL. MeUndies has a great offer for all of you out there. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off for a limited time. If you sign up for the free to join MeUndies membership, you get 25% off your first membership item. To get 50% off your order, 25% off your first membership item, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/kindafunny. That's MeUndies.com/kindafunny.
And we're back. My wife wanted a green tea. We've ordered it. Don't worry. It's time for This Week in PlayStation, where we go through the biggest headlines and talk about them, all right? This one's a breaking one from today, Jan and Jonathan. Very excited. Number one, PlayStation Stars program. We read from the PlayStation blog. PlayStation Stars will be free to join when it launches later this year. Once you become a member, you'll earn rewards by completing a variety of campaigns and activities. Our monthly check-in campaign simply requires you to play any game to receive a reward, while other campaigns require you to win tournaments, earn specific trophies, or even be the first player to platinum a blockbuster title in your local time zone. All PlayStation Stars members will have opportunities to earn loyalty points. Points can be redeemed in a catalog that may include PSN wallet funds and select PlayStation Store products. As an additional benefit, PlayStation Plus members enrolled in PlayStation Stars automatically earn points for purchases on the PlayStation Store. Also, as part of PlayStation Stars, we are unveiling a new type of reward called digital collectibles. I want you both to know how fucking tightly my asshole clenched when I read this morning. I'm like, oh no!
I was so worried.
Is it about to be an NFT? Oh my god! No, it's not.
I immediately went to PlayStation Home in my mind.
I wish. I mean,
Like,
can you imagine that?
I literally pictured like PlayStation Home crossed with like an Astrobot when you get the little collectibles and he has them in his little room. That's what I pictured.
No,
and then I articles that are like confirmed not NFT, and I was like, oh yeah, that would make more sense than what I pictured.
Before I saw those articles,
how the world goes.
Yeah, I immediately was like, oh, I'm going to choose which version of Astro I like. This one has a slightly differently colored arm or something, and then I'm going to have to trade it for $50 to someone else. I was very worried.
To feed my family.
Back to it, sorry. Collectibles are as diverse as our portfolio of products and franchises. They are digital that's diverse, Janet. You know what I mean? They are digital representations of things that PlayStation fans enjoy, including figurines of beloved and iconic characters from games and other forms of entertainment, as well as cherished devices that tap into Sony's history of innovation. This is the most, hey, remember PlayStation Vita's Nier app where everybody's like, what the fuck is this? Why am I getting songs from Super Stardust?
Where do they live? What am I gonna? Is there a shelf that's gonna be on my PS5 now that I look into and click on?
That's what I hope, even though it'd be dumb, kind of. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll walk around and I'll look at my virtual shelf that'll be like what I have here, but like things they gave me.
I mean, like you said, Janet, though, like Astros is the perfect template for that. Like, give me a room where I am Astro and all of my collectibles are on the wall, and I can like.
There will always be a new collectible to earn, an ultra rare collectible to strive for, or something surprising to collect just for fun. This is, yes, the most nebulous.
Yep.
We don't fully know what we're doing yet, but we're excited to do something with it. Like, because best case scenario,
and then in VR?
VR would be cool. VR would be cool for it, sure. But since they're doing it everywhere, is that I guess you're basically, and this is just me spitballing on what it would be, is that you're basically bringing back themes, and your PlayStation 5 has a shelf theme you can have where this kind of stuff goes up and is on like bulletin boards, and you look at it that way. Because what'll probably happen is it'll be a stupid app that is on your PlayStation if you want to, and you go to it twice and never go to it again. Like, I don't know why I would be doing this, Janet.
I want to be able to go to my friend. Like, what if they made it like the Animal Crossing-ification of the PlayStation dashboard, right? Like, I can go to your room, Greg, and I can write you a little note or something on your PlayStation whiteboard. Like, these are, again, is this really moving the needle on my PlayStation experience? Like this potentially virtual room with a virtual thing that I got for doing virtual things? Not really, but like, I'm just excited that we're getting something because I was already doing this stuff anyway. So I'm like, okay, sure. Like, let's see what kind of fun might be had in my virtual room. I don't know what they're giving me here actually, so I don't know about that part. But discounts or something are cool.
Yeah, discounts
Might's
are always fun. I like that. Closing out the article though. We hope this new program brings to mind past gaming memories while making you excited for the future with PlayStation, commemorating the gaming eras we created together, charting new paths to explore, and bringing players together for global celebrations. This is just the beginning for PlayStation Stars, and the program will continue to evolve over time. We're currently doing some early tests on the program before launching it later this year in phased regional rollouts. Dornbush, are you excited to start getting some PlayStation Stars?
I mean, am I excited? Probably not. Am I okay with it? Yeah. I like on my Xbox, I check in on the digital rewards and I have, if it says go collect these 5 achievements or get 2 achievements in this game, I'll go do that because it means points I can redeem on the store. I think like giving people that incentive when they have already given people such a methodology for collecting trophies, like that's so ingrained as a part of the PlayStation experience. Doing this to give you something practical out of it is good, and if that means I can buy a game for a couple bucks cheaper, that's awesome. The digital collectibles thing, like you said, feels like putting the cart way before the horse. Like someone was like in the C-suite said, we need something like this, and everyone else was like, but we're not doing NFTs, so I guess this is the compromise and we'll figure it out as we go. That's what it feels like, right?
And it does, as you brought up so eloquently, it is them finally trying to catch up to Microsoft rewards or Xbox rewards. Like this does exist over there, right? Where earn points for what you already do on Xbox, then redeem your points on real rewards. Play more, get rewarded. Yes, that's a great idea. And I'm way more, and to your point, like, yeah, it's awesome to think of the idea of like, you're doing these things, you're earning these points, you can redeem them on the store. If you're a PlayStation Plus member, everything you're purchasing, you're earning points for that you get to do it. Even on Nintendo, I'm always stoked when I go to the eShop and I go to buy something and I'm like, oh man, I got the coins enough for this. I can just buy it that way. Rad.
Well, and we also, I mean, with PlayStation, you used to, obviously, they might still do it for PS4 games, but it can exist with PS5. If you got the Platinum Trophy, you'd usually get an email from a first-party game of like, congrats, here's a wallpaper, or here's an avatar for you to use. That can exist now, and so they want to, I think it is important to continue to reward the most dedicated players, and this is just a smart, probably pretty cost-effective way. Like, they're not going to suddenly make it so you can earn $70 a week or something. Like, they're going to make it a pittance, but it's going to be worth it to people.
And I forget, and I know this is how long I've been doing it.
We should see who can earn the most money when this comes out.
Sure. Who can? It's a channel. Just see who can buy whatever.
Or something, like I don't know.
Dead Space remake for free. No, it is very much the Matrix, and the cycle repeats itself. I cannot remember. Was it PlayStation? I think it was just PlayStation Rewards the last time they did this.
I think Sony Rewards. Yeah.
But remember, because it worked with PlayStation, you got the little avatars that said what level you were. I got a T-shirt because I did whatever trophy wise, some shit like that. Like there's stuff going on. And speaking of the trophy thing, of course, it talks about being the first to platinum a game in your region or yada yada yada. Live on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. Jose says, don't reviewers have a huge advantage of getting the platinum though? I know trophies don't unlock for review copies, but they have already played the game. Well, that's incorrect actually. Trophies do unlock for playing the game ahead of time, which means there's a whole bunch of shit they probably haven't figured out that's totally broken.
This one to me, because we were talking about this at IGN, some people were like, I have to platinum a game because I'm doing the guide, so I'm going to get it. I mean, devs play a launch copy of the game and will have a trophy before people. Just put it at minute 0, the game launches at people who don't have trophies, but then they have to go into the back end and whitelist or blacklist certain accounts. It becomes this whole big issue. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, how will you know? You know what I mean? Even if they're like, they could just tell us they're doing this and they're like, it's flawed, but how would you know that it was I don't know how they're going to follow up on that, but yeah, it seems a little bit
Jose's
stressful.
last name is God damn it. I can say it in my head and I've said it a million times and I know this. I went to school with somebody. Well, the Illinois pronunciation is just Spopol. Nah, damn it.
Sepulveda?
Sepulveda. Spopolveda. I'm totally. You can see every gear in my head locking up right now. No, that's Bandersnatch. That's not right. Sepulveda. No, that's not it. It's Spopolveda, but I'm still getting it wrong. Damn, this is going to be a mind bender because I know this from. I think there was a street back home that I could say back then. I can't say it now. Oh, it's a street in California. It's a street right now. It says there you go.
But then, so within those California streets, though, too, it's like, how do you say it? It's like, is it Los Feliz or Los Feliz? If you say it in Spanish, it's Los Feliz. But if you read it with the English pronunciation. It's Los Feliz, and it's like, what do people call it here though?
In
I don't
New
really
York,
know.
there's Houston Street, but you look at it and you're like, oh, it's Houston. But if you say Houston, you get mocked endlessly, like I did.
Mm-hmm.
When growing up,
lose all your PlayStation points.
Did you call it Mario or Mario?
I think I said Mario.
Yeah,
really?
that's big East Coast. That's big
I
East
never
Coast
knew
vibe.
this about you.
I've changed. I've evolved, but I said
That's what they
You
all
got
say.
better.
You know, I've
You
heard it all
got
before.
better.
Going now.
No, they don't
Yeah.
all say it because the New Yorkers like to double down and say Mario. You know, it hurts my soul to listen to the
I
giant
thought Mario
Bombcasts,
was only
and
Canadian.
they're just talking about Mario all day. It's why.
Well, I would call him Mario. The last name is pronounced differently.
Oh my God! Shut up, Dornbush. Jesus
The
Christ,
chaotic neutral approach to the pronunciation.
Now hold on a second. We just had one of those moments where like you see it's Bears kind of shit.
Mhm.
Ryan Powala Higgins in the chat says no one at KindaFunny has managed to get my name right yet.
Oh.
I thought Ryan Powala Higgins. We've been crushing this for like 7 years. Now you're telling me we're saying it's wrong. Which part are we saying wrong?
I like how
Ryan?
you've read it.
Paolo.
Wait.
Rian?
Powala.
Maybe?
Ryan.
That's a guess.
Wow.
Powala Higgins.
What were you saying before?
Koala.
Ryan Powala.
Like koala.
Like koala,
Oh,
or like my friend
koala.
Powala.
Powala. What if Ryan's just saying this to like
Fuck
create
with us.
chaos?
Well,
Yeah.
eventually we
You
get
know what I
into
mean?
this whole situation though, where it's like my name's spelled Greg, and so how do you say it? I'm like, well, I say it
Greek.
Zeke. Yeah, and like, well, no, you can't just make up a pronunciation. You put the letters in there.
Do
No,
any of
W
y'all
is
have-
pronounced as a V. He says it's Polish. Oh,
Oh,
Powala. Ryan
man.
Powala Higgins.
Yeah.
Can I get some more Provalas in the chat? The 2 isn't. That was a lot to unpack, but I'm excited for the PlayStation rewards. Yeah, I mean, y'all already spoke to it, and we are probably too long on this, but everyone else has some form of it. And while none of the forms are perfect, oh gosh, who's on that line? Is it Ryan? Do you have Ryan's number?
I probably do.
Hello?
Kevin, are you still live right now?
Yeah.
All right. Can they hear? Are you talking to the microphone right now?
No.
All right.
No.
You need to tell them at some point. You can do it right now if you want, live, or like while I'm talking to you, you can explain that I'm talking to you because I'm doing a show too right now. I can't believe this. You know Ryan Powala Higgins?
What? Who?
You know Ryan Powala Higgins? He's a patron. We talked about. He gets mentioned as a producer all the time.
Yeah.
You don't pronounce his name Powala.
No, not Powala.
No, you do the W as a V, so it's Ryan Powala Higgins.
Oh.
I need you to spread
Powala.
this.
Yeah,
I
calling.
need you to go spread this from the top of the mountain, okay?
Okay, all right. So we've been mispronouncing Ryan
Powala.
We've been
Powala.
saying Powala.
Yeah,
but it's Powala.
Yeah, it's Polish. No, the W's a V. Powala.
Polish. The W, it makes a V sound.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
All right,
Learn something new every day.
go tell everybody. All right, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Sorry. Sometimes the news breaks. You got to get Kevin on.
This is why I have like a Starbucks name as well. I'm just Jay.
Oh, that's good. That's smart.
Yeah. I do
That's
just
smart.
John.
Nice.
Ryan says he should have kept. Ryan Powala Higgins in the chat says should have kept my mouth shut. No, you shouldn't have. I want
You should've said something earlier.
If anything,
To be
we're more
100%
upset
clear,
at you than
we
you
are
can
not
say
making
anything.
fun of you.
Yeah.
You have been supporting us for years. We want to make sure we're saying your fucking name right.
It is rough
digress.
to do it over chat though. And then at a certain point, the chatter does give up, and I feel when they give up. You know, you ever like, it's like, is this right? And they're like, don't worry
Close enough,
about
I
it.
hate that. Yeah,
I'm just gonna
no.
close the tab.
The one
And
I
I'm
don't like
no,
is
come back.
Pargot just did a Patreon sponsorship for us, or producer thing, and he got married. So he hit me up of like, hey, do you mind if it says to me is getting married on this date, and then later you say got married? I'm like, no, totally, but and then I hit him up, I'm like, am I pronouncing your name right? And he goes, that's how Americans pronounce it. I was like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? He's like, you're right for your country. I'm like, oh God, all right, yeah, sorry, we tried.
Participation points.
Names. Nathan Choquette, another name that Choquette needed to be taught to us. Says, do you think PlayStation Stars will be significant enough to rival Microsoft rewards, or will it just be a fun side thing for PlayStation players?
100% enough to rival it. Why can't this just be the trophies again, right? They did achievements first. Yeah, but no one, what do you say when you got all the achievements?
I thousand
I got 1,000.
They're not always 1,000 though.
Get
isn't
outta
it?
here,
Isn't
Mike.
it sometimes not 1,000 as well?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
The point is, like, I feel like Yes, exactly.
Like 250.
You know, and like when I get an achievement and I'm playing an Xbox game, I shout achievement and it sucks. It sucks. I get to shout trophy hunter when I get a trophy on PlayStation. Do these things matter? Honestly, no. Is that really affecting the bottom line? No, probably not. But I do think that there can be at least like a cultural shift in what PlayStation players gravitate to. And I think if this is done well, this could be a big part of what the PlayStation experience is like and become a part of the identity in a bigger way than Microsoft potentially, even if it's not as good or the same.
Yeah, for me, is it significant enough to rival Microsoft
I go hard for
rewards?
these points, man. I have the Starbucks app. Like I'm ready.
Oh, I'm a big
ready.
Yeah.
I know. I think about, Jonathan, I think about you often when I'm at Starbucks because like I always remember you buying everyone's coffees and being
Or
like,
most people
see,
think
I buy all the coffees and then because we're getting reimbursed and it's group purchase. Yeah. So, it's like, you want coffee? I'm like, sure. And then, and I think about like, it's such a capitalist dystopia of everyone's happy because everyone gets something that they wanted.
Oh, exactly.
And yeah.
Yeah, every E3, I would buy everyone's coffee every day with our stipend, and because we'd have other foods, and I would get hundreds of stars. Yeah. I was the king of Starbucks stars, and I didn't pay for any of them.
Here's the thing, Dornbush. When you go to Starbucks and you're getting a fun drink, so not like a black coffee or whatever, like a fun, you're having a fun time. What's your fun drink, right? If you were to get a little treat, what's your little treat?
It's a Trenta cold brew.
Oh,
that's
such a serious treat. Treat. You're not getting up the refresher.
It's because I've so weaned myself off any of the sugary drinks. Like honestly, just a frappuccino for me hits. Like a good frappuccino
same.
With whipped cream and all that is enough for me these days. I used to get like the cookies and cream frappuccino with like extra shots of syrup and all that stuff. Our NYU meal pass when I was in college let you go to a Starbucks and spend the money there. Total waste of it. But I would do that with all the frappuccinos.
Dornbush, I probably felt the benefits of you buying coffee for us during those times. But since I'm no longer at IGN, I'm gonna have to let Para know. So you have to transfer those stars over to IGN as the corporate.
No,
can you imagine?
No, don't tell him.
How petty would that be? That'd be so funny. They're like, we don't even want the stars. We're just gonna throw them in the carpet. We're gonna let them expire, and you're gonna have to watch.
I remember what a day of celebration it was at IGN when. I believe it was when, we got sold from Fox to Ziff. And Ziff was like, oh, yeah, we're not going to use, like, we had corporate cards at Fox. So you had an American Express bill that was just, like, outrageous and you didn't benefit from it. You couldn't put anything on, like, you couldn't get the rewards through it. And then it was like, no, well, now you'll use your own credit cards. And we were all then it was like a race of who was booking flights and who was doing whatever. Like, oh, I'll get you. I'll do whatever you need. What do you need? Like, you're just trying to get something for free. Like,
yeah.
Number 2. For this week in PlayStation. PlayStation Plus games catalog is expanding on June 19th. The game catalog lineup for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members will jump like this. Stray on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on PlayStation 5. Marvel's Avengers on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. You'll get a bunch of Ubisoft classics, including the Ezio collection, which is Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag includes Freedom Cry, a standalone expansion, Assassin's Creed Unity, and Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. You'll also be getting Saints Row 4 Re-Elected on PlayStation 4, Saints Row Get Out of Hell on PlayStation 4, Spirit of the North Enhanced Edition PlayStation 5, Ice Age Scrat's Nutty Adventure on PlayStation 4, Jumanji the video game on PlayStation 4, Paw Patrol on a roll PlayStation 4, Ready Set Heroes on PlayStation 4, and then the classic catalog lineup for PlayStation Plus Premium members is adding No Heroes Allowed on PSP and Loco Roco Midnight Carnival on PSP. Jonathan, I have not heard your thoughts in general on the new PlayStation Plus, but what does this do to them?
I can't believe you didn't listen to Podcast Beyond immediately the second it dropped this week.
My apologies.
I think it continues to reinforce for me the idea that the extra tier is a good value, especially for new players to PlayStation. I think it's not the most amazing or exciting update because it is really just one brand new game and a lot of older stuff. Remake Integrate being and Avengers the second closest to. But man, it still just makes me wonder what the premium tier is going to look like in 6 months or even a year from now, even 2 or 3 months. Getting 2 PSP games only when we know how many PS1 classics, PS2 games, PS3 games exist out there for them to pull from, even just first party alone. And to not even have 1 or 2 more of those there to fill out that library makes me wonder what the plan is going to be for that tier going forward.
Yeah, I'm right there with you of looking at this and you go, oh man, that's a great month for extra. And it's not bad for premium, but again, Are people using premium to its full advantage? Are you sitting there and playing like all these classic games you can only get there? I feel like premium becomes similar to what you're talking about with Starbucks, right? A treat. Oh, this month I want to play something, so I'll pay a little bit more to go up, and then for 3 months I'll go down and never worry about it again, Jan.
I feel like the Starbucks Frappuccino is way better than, well, I don't know, Loco Roco Midnight Carnival might hit, honestly. I love Loco Roco, so I'm going to hit this up
okay, sure.
and let you know. They're different games, is the thing. Like, they're completely different games. They're just both cute, and people like them. That's the only similarity.
That's it. That's all it was.
Yeah. It's circles, I guess, right? Like, I mean, circle people versus circle blob, you know? There's a Venn diagram there to be had. But yeah, like the classics catalog, it's funny because I was thinking at first, we got the 3 months like provided by PlayStation, and I'm like, I'm just gonna extend it to a year. But now I'm wondering if I should actually wait till next year and then do, because they're like, as time goes on, the catalog is essentially gonna grow. So it should be, hopefully this is and this is not to say the service is bad, but hopefully this is the worst that it will be. I'd love to look back like in going into 2023 and be like, look how much cool stuff we got in the back end of 2022, and it's only progressing. I don't know if that'll be enough for me to be, wanting to hit up the classics catalog on the regular, but I do like Loco Roco, so.
I'm impressed isn't the right word, but I do like what they're adding on July 19th. Obviously, Stray being day and date, that's awesome. That's incredible.
Stray's huge.
And then Intergrade, though, being there, I know that people did miss that, and I haven't gone back to play the DLC, or I guess I only played the PS4 version of this, right? So I have to go back and do that. And Avengers, no jokes, I won't even make my jokes about it or whatever, but like they're adding stuff that I do think is like, oh, cool. Like Intergrade is something I did miss. Like, do I want to go and play it? And granted, I think I already have it, but like, if I was on the outside and stuff like that, like it's cool that it's there. It's nice that they're doing this. I hope they continue to do this where it is, hey, we're making a big deal about what we're adding to the lineup. Hey, this is a real thing. You got to drive home the point that this is something that, is ever growing and ever evolving.
Yeah, I think that needs to be there every month. I've said this a lot before, but like I hope, knowing that we're not going to be getting in the near future any first party stuff day and date, I think they continue to need to find things like Stray that they can put up as day and date availability or things like that. Like they've got to show that appeal for the service. But I agree, like Remake Intergrade, that game is beautiful. Like whether or not people end up loving the rest of the game, it looks gorgeous on PS5, and that DLC, if you like the game, is really good. There's an excellent mini game in it too that I got obsessed with. And yeah, to be able to like pop into Avengers to try the campaign, like I still hold that campaign story is very good. If you want to go back to Assassin's Creed stuff, like I think there's enough here.
It's good timing too. Last night we finished Miss Marvel, and I was like, dang, do I want to go level up Kamala right now in Avengers? And I was like, I do, but I have work to do. I have things to review. So no, but if you had never played Avengers and you're coming off Miss Marvel being like, that was awesome, like I totally recommend going through and jumping into the campaign. Third story for the week. This comes from VGC's Chris Scullion. Those delisted Metal Gear games could be coming back. Konami has stated that it is preparing to reinstate Metal Gear titles that had previously been delisted from digital stores. Today marks the 35th anniversary of the original Metal Gear, and the official Japanese Metal Gear Twitter account posted a tweet celebrating the occasion. However, awkwardly, fans still can't play many of the series entries on modern consoles due to them having been pulled from storefronts last year. Konami said on Wednesday the games would return soon. Quote, the Metal Gear series launched on the 13th of July, 1987, celebrates its 35th anniversary today. We are preparing to resume the sale of titles that had been temporarily suspended, end quote. The statement likely specifically relates to Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, which had to be removed from sale in November 2021 because, according to Konami, some of the real-life archive footage used in them had been licensed, and those licenses were now expired. Quote, we are currently working on renewing the licenses for select historical archive footage used in-game. Therefore, we have made the temporary decision to begin suspending the sale of Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and all products that include these games from digital storefronts globally starting November 8th, 2021, a statement at the time read. We sincerely ask for your patience and understanding as we work towards making these products available for purchase once again. Just a couple weeks ago, we did a PS I Love You about the future of Metal Gear. And of course, as we talked about the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers, it was big news, of course, when PlayStation now removed the Metal Gears, and that you wouldn't be getting those here. Dornbush, are you holding your breath for anything cool, or do you think it'll just be, all right, the games are up again digitally?
I think just reinstating.
Right.
I don't know. With Konami, I'm not going to hope for too much. Them doing anything is a surprise these days. But I would like them to be up there for people again, personally for me, because I still need to revisit those or visit them for the first time.
What?
Please don't hate me. But
You play Peace Walker though, so you're fine there.
I played some of it.
Yeah, good. Okay, good. Some's better than none. Janet.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I didn't. I really
I
wish,
gotta
like,
come back. I gotta come
actually,
back.
you know, like.
But yeah, with Konami these days, I think just getting them back on would be a big achievement for things these days. I would love it to be more though. It is such a obviously beloved franchise for so many people, even if they're not like, here's what the future of it is. To have them all on PS Plus, extra or premium, some combination of the two probably, because it makes no sense, would be great. It would be wonderful to have for people. But
I hope so, and I hope they do something cool with it. Like, come on, Konami, just do something cool. Do something. Put them together.
I think when the options are do something cool or do nothing, a lot of people do nothing. So I'm gonna lean on nothing.
So yeah, I mean, I'll cheer for the bare minimum, I guess. Then at that point, just be like happy if they come back, so people can play them, because that'd be nice. Number 4 is that rock block at TLOU I was talking about. We've already covered that. Last of Us Part 1 remake isn't a cash grab, which I don't know about you guys. I never thought it was going to be. Even when we were like, oh man, I never thought it was a cash grab. I just thought it was like, I hope, again, you do more than the bare minimum. I want Joel to climb under a car, Janet. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, no one's going to ever talk about their work and I hope that most people don't think about their work like that, especially because you really can't guarantee. I know some people think like, oh, it's obviously going to sell like a gajillion copies, and I'm sure it'll be very commercially successful, but you still have to invest time and energy into that, and that's time and energy you could be putting into something else that could potentially, like, if you play too much of that game, you're just going to get caught up in your own head. So yeah, I mean, of course I believe that the people that worked on it see value in it beyond the fact that it sells, a bunch of copies. So yeah, I don't know if Joel can crawl. Do you guys think Joel's going to crawl? I'm going to say no.
No, I don't think he's going to crawl.
Probably
I
not.
think my expectations are set pretty low nowadays.
I think the cash grab like phrasing came from just like the volatility of the discussion around whether or not $70, and that is. Yeah. I just think where that phrasing came from, I do very much think like seeing what the devs have talked about, not having seen it yet, but obviously they put a lot of work into this remake. And so I think it is a very smart financial play. Absolutely. I think we can't pretend that this is clearly going to help capitalize on the TV show, help, bring the original game up to standard if they continue to invest in The Last of Us as a franchise. Like, it makes sense from all those sides of things, but I also don't think that means Naughty Dog just skirted by and did something really quick and easy. I don't think they did that, but I think this came from the hostility around that discussion of price point.
For sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Now we have not only the release date, as we've known for a while, we have the next part here that it's gone gold. Naughty Dog tweeted, thrilled to announce The Last of Us Part 1 has gone gold. Congratulations to the dogs and our partners at PlayStation who contributed their passion and talent to the growing world of The Last of Us. Which again, you're like, yeah. And then it's like, wait, it's July. It's gonna be coming out in September. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's awesome, but it's like usually we're cutting it closer than this. Usually the gold announcement comes a bit closer to release date. I would expect this to pop sometime in August, even though we're talking about the start of September. But all right, great. Now we just wait for codes. Come on, game's ready. Let's go. Let's see what it is. And that's the other thing too of like, when do they start talking more about this game? Do they show more? Dornbush, I know Jan and I have talked this to death, but what's your prediction? Are we getting a state of play that will be a deep dive on this? Is it just going to be another trailer? And it's The Last of Us. You know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, every PlayStation first-party game pretty much has gotten a state of play, and though this is a weird remake one, like Demon's Souls got one. And so I don't see why this wouldn't, if that is the cadence they continue to. I think the big thing for them is like, they've shown the differences visually. Like, we have the side-by-sides, we have the comparisons, they've released a bunch of awesome ones. I do think they need to show at least a little beforehand of what the ground up gameplay changes mean practically in the game, because I can assume, like, we can all guess, we've kind of joked about it or talked about it, but we don't know what that means for like a level of it or for a shootout in a level or even a puzzle. For sure. Like, I think if they showed just a little of that would be enough pre-launch. But I do think this is also a game that they're putting out in September. However it does in September doesn't matter as much as how it does in the next year, because The Last of Us is going to be that franchise that keeps coming back up for them.
And of course, they want the big push for this, right? Is the fact that they want whoever watches The Last of Us on HBO to go to Walmart, buy a PlayStation 5, and say, "Oh, there's The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I'll pick those up right there."
Yep. Yeah.
Like 100%. You with Miss Marvel,
Well, I mean, I already did it. That wasn't me. I'm saying there's
yeah, but like we're like, I want to dip into it. Like it's trying to create that cadence of, and then you go watch the Uncharted movie or something, the Gran Turismo movie or the show or whatever. Just tab over all PlayStation all the time.
Speaking of the HBO show, though, it looks like we have a release window. This is Brad Lang at Comic Book Resources, who writes HBO's live action adaptation of The Last of Us has a release window. Speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, HBO and HBO Max's chief content officer, Casey Bloys, revealed that fans of the beloved video game will need to wait a little longer for the show. According to the executive, The Last of Us will arrive closer to early 2023. Dornbush, what's your hype level for the show?
I am pretty optimistic. I think the thing about this one that I think they're doing is that, especially knowing how much Neil has been involved, but also how much they have, like the team and the people they've chosen for actually producing and writing and directing, I think they understand that they are adapting something for the television medium and understand the benefits and the differences between a game and a movie, or a game and a TV show and whatnot. So I think, I am pretty hopeful, especially knowing how beloved Chernobyl was and all the work done there. Obviously, The Hangover Part 3 as well from Craig Mazin's portfolio. But no, he clearly really found and capitalized on something, especially with HBO. So I think it's going to be great. I think for me, the thing I'm most excited to see is what they do to actually fit the form of a TV show. Because I do think The Last of Us naturally lends itself to episodic chapter-based storytelling. But how they do that in a TV show and how they expand upon that with the supporting cast is the thing I'm most excited to see.
Yeah, I can't wait. I keep saying I think this is going to be a success. I think this is going to be the best video game adaptation we've gotten in terms of a live action thing. Because I just think, you call out Neil, Craig, the team they have on it, the way it looks, the cast, obviously we've been disappointed by a million things. So you can't say there's no way this will fail, but it definitely looks like a really interesting interpretation that I can't wait for.
Yeah.
Janet?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it because I don't think I've used my HBO Max very much, so it seems like an easy way to get some use out of it.
It's
I know.
Good. It's a great.
There's good stuff
Did you know
everywhere.
the Snyder Cut's on there? You can watch the Snyder Cut right now.
There's a lot of things on there. I'm notoriously bad at keeping up with TV and film. I'm like, I don't have time. I could be, I don't know, doing some gaming stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out. I'm just curious as to what they're gonna do with it and what their approach will be, and hopefully it's good.
We'll see soon enough. But for now, let's talk about PlayStation picks for the week. This is, of course, where we're talking about what came out this week and what you should be looking at. The drop this week has 2 games on it. Number 1 was Escape Academy. Escape Academy is one of the first video games to authentically capture the time pressure and mind-bending action of escape rooms and transform them into immersive digital experiences. This title brings the teamwork, exploration, and intense scenarios of IRL escape rooms straight to consoles and PCs in this epic mystery featuring a prestigious school, relentless rivalries, and abundance of problem solving. Players can experience Escape Academy in single player or with friends in multiplayer local co-op mode, as well as an online split screen multiplayer mode, working together to achieve elite escapist status, all without leaving the comfort of the living room. It is available for $20 on PSN this week. I reviewed it, and I'll talk about it when I get to what I picked for PlayStation this week. But to close out, the other thing that is worth pointing out on the drop is Mothman 1966. I'm sure you've all heard of this one. No, you haven't? Mothman 1966 is a pixel pulp, a visual novel featuring a fusion of exceptional writing and stunning illustration, inspired by mid-20th century pulp fiction and 80s home computer graphics, set amongst the strange occurrences of the Leonid meteor shower of 1966. This one's $9 on your PlayStation this week, and I haven't played it yet, but when I had seen this, I feel like months ago, I immediately hit up Game Codes to see who else wanted to play it. This seems so up my alley. I can't wait to jump into this. If you're an audio listener, imagine basically the oldest of old school video games, almost remember, and I'm trying to give you a dated reference for what a dated game genre used to be, but at the start of Big, when he's playing that computer game, talking to the wizard about how to melt the ice or whatever, it looks like that kind of game.
It's very King's Quest vibes, like that.
Yeah. And so but I don't have many fond memories of those games because those actually do predate me. But this looks fun. I like supernatural stuff. Obviously, I'm stoked to get my hands on this one and try it out. But that's not what I played this week, like I said. And now we're going to talk about what we picked for PlayStation this week. I picked Escape Academy. I played Escape Academy, full disclosure, on Steam because I reviewed it for KindaFunny, and that's the only code they had. But highly recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on the KindaFunny scale, indicating it's great. Our review's up as a KindaFunny Games Cast. You can catch the TikTok and all that stuff too. And I like how much the description I read, which obviously is the official one, talks about hey, you're going on. You're going to be this. There's going to be rivalries. You're in this school. all of that is just set dressing for you to get into these escape rooms and try to figure out how to open that lock to get to the antidote, to get this thing, to solve the puzzle, to do the poison. And they do such a great job of building 13 puzzles that are challenging but meant to be conquered. They aren't meant, I call out in my review, right? Like this game made me feel smart, whereas The Witness made me feel dumb of just not getting it. This is a game that is just
to feel smart.
It's right. Few and far between things in this life are doing it for us, Janet. But this one is once you learn the language of how Escape Academy works, I feel like you really get into the vibe of, oh, okay, like this is going to be a puzzle about colors, or I need a numbered code here, or where's the cipher to not only set up what this new language is, but what I need to do with this blank dial and keypad and stuff. Like, I had a great time with Escape Academy. Super stoked that this morning, today, as we record, is their official launch day. They announced a DLC going into next year, which that's super rad. A couple different updates for you to come back and keep playing, which again, I think speaks to, of course, it being $20. That's a good value. I think there's 13 puzzles here. I forget what it was now because I'm reviewing something else and I just beat it the other night. But I want to say my game clock on Escape Academy was like 6 hours, right? And I think it's, more or less given. I think if you added up all the times of the puzzles I did, it was a little over 4 hours, but that's just tracking the best times, not the times where I actually failed and ran out of time and had to redo something. Highly recommend it. When Blessing and I played it at Summer Game Fest together in co-op mode, that was great. Today I popped in, Mike and Nick were streaming it on KindaFunny. I popped in to watch them struggle and have fun together and run through. It's super cool. And Janet, I think it would really play well, not only for you and I, our gaming sensibilities, but for how you guys play games in your house. Whether you're just playing solo mode and had other people there be like, well, do this or do that. And like, I don't have it right around me. I have a notebook filled with ciphers and notes and like this thing and that thing. Like, you need somebody, it's helpful to have somebody there who's doing that kind of stuff with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to play this one. I'll probably just play it with Isaiah. I know me and Blessing talked about maybe playing together as well, but I'm not sure if we're
he always
actually
plays these kind of things
doing
with
that.
You can't do it. He's always with Yami.
That's the thing. That's the problem. It's like, we need like a game that Yami and Isaiah hate that we can both play together. So like, prob's not, but I think I'll play with Isaiah. He was looking forward to it as well. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad to hear that you like it, because if you didn't like it, that means I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah,
so now I have a chance to like it because you like it. So
Dornbush, are you at all excited for Escape Academy?
I love Janet's barometer there. No, for me, I had heard about the game and then kind of didn't really pay attention to it. And then yesterday on my Twitter feed, all I saw was you talking about how good this game was, and I did not expect it.
You got to follow more people.
I do. I only follow you. It's a problem. But I'm actually really excited. I love puzzle games. I love the idea of solving that stuff either alone or together. I mean, like you were saying, my girlfriend and I played games together all the time, whether it's switching off the controller or playing co-op or all that stuff. So this feels very perfect for our situation because we both love puzzles and just haven't been able to do a real escape room recently for reasons. Yeah. So, it sounds really fun. Yeah.
This could be the next Operation Tango.
Ooh.
A PlayStation Plus game that Janet didn't claim.
For what?
A PlayStation Plus game that Janet didn't claim.
No, I claimed that one. I played it.
Oh, you did? Dang, I'm sorry. It was a shot in the dark. I thought I had you. Sorry, my apologies. Janet, what did you play this week on PlayStation?
I finally finished Uncharted 4. I had my Thief's End. I started this game, I think maybe even before. I think I was at the beginning of my career in the industry, which I've been in for 5 years now, something like that. Slowly playing through all these games. Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3. And then everyone's like, okay, but Uncharted 4 though. And I was like, y'all may be leading me down a dark hallway, but I'm going to, this is the ride that I want to take. And I finished it. I don't know where to begin. I definitely liked it more than the others.
That's the biggest thing. Did you like it?
Yeah, I would say I liked it. I will say the reason that I think no one ever believes that I would like this game is because it's weighted by the baggage of games 1 through 3 for me, which I did not like those games. I had moments of fun, and when I first started Uncharted 1, to keep a long story short, I was like, this is a great, awesome time, It definitely feels, felt older at the time because I played in the modern era, but I'm like, still having fun. We're swinging, we're hanging out, we're shooting, we're adventuring, and then it just went on and on and on, and, again, great, some good set pieces, but and then the supernatural thing they always threw in for 1 through 3 every single time. I was just like, over it, not into it, not approved by me, did not like it. Was like, nah, I'm good. Uncharted 4, I feel like actually finally delivers on the vision that was set forth with this franchise, which is marrying good storytelling, good writing with a good adventure. I think, as I mentioned, this is like basically verbatim what I said last week, but the game's at its best when it's digging into the story, when we're talking to the characters, when we're having discussions, while we're solving puzzles. I think the puzzles were also better in this game. They still were very simple, but they were a little bit less obvious than they were in 1 through 3, where 1 through 3 was very much like, I think if I open my book, it'll tell me to turn this lever. And it was like absolutely nothing. I feel like I was not involved in them at all. Here I was a little more involved. Still not hard, but I also don't need them to be like mind bending, right? It's a part of a larger thing. The set pieces in this game were great. I don't think it, even though I am not an Uncharted 2 stan, I don't think the train is worth that game. Like, I don't believe that. There were not, maybe not, I think the height was probably still that car scene was pretty competitive. I really like that. Yeah, the one that they showed off at E3 at the time. Yeah. That chase was phenomenal. I loved how dramatic this game was. Again, I liked they didn't do the damn supernatural twist they always did with, oh, he's a Yeti who's somehow powerful, but he's a man, but he's
got power.
Blue sap made sense.
Yeah.
The blue sap made sense in it too. And remember, of course, Uncharted 3 didn't have a supernatural twist. Uncharted 3 didn't have it. It was just in your head.
And I know people will be like, oh, it's because Indiana Jones. You can't just write all your problems off on Indiana Jones, okay? You're not Indiana Jones. There's an Indiana Jones skin and there's a Nathan Drake skin in Fortnite, you know? Different things. But I like that it avoided those pitfalls. I will say, and granted, I dragged to play it, but it did feel long. It was a long game. It's funny playing this game now. I'm finally filling some of my Naughty Dog gaps where I'm like, man, this game is so long. No wonder Last of Us 2 was 3 games. You know, I was like, of course, like they were feeling these structures and these chapters. And then, you know, spoiler alert for the game, if you still haven't played it. I loved the ending a lot. I thought it was fantastic. I wasn't expecting it either. I went into this totally cold, didn't know anything about what would happen, who would live, who would die, who would break up or not. Spoilers, not a lot of dramatic stuff happened. Everyone turned out okay, which I was a little bummed by. I wanted my brother to die in this game. Sam, not my brother, I don't know who's playing with me, so badly. I was like, he's gonna die, and that's gonna be like the thief's end. Like a thief's end is like death. Like it only ends in like chaos. But it's like, oh, he's fine. And then I was like, oh man, did they just like really leave all that treasure behind? I would have swam back for. I mean, I love the drama of this game. This game was so drama packed, and that was super fun to like watch unravel. And then the end was like super high res Life is Strange, which I'm like, what's going on here for a minute? Like, I love the tie-in with the crash thing, and I was like, oh, they brought me back to playing this cute thing for the credits. And then I'm like, oh no, there's more game. And it was like, okay, who is this? It's probably their kid, but we still know for sure this dog doesn't quite look right. It looks a little bit like that Ace Combat dog, but let's ignore that, you know? We're not going to talk about the dog. We're going to keep going. And just seeing that all go through, which is really satisfying and fun. It had the nice rabbit with the cabinet. I think it hit a lot of boxes that are a little cliche, but it executed in a way that felt earned and heartfelt. So I really love that ending. Definitely feel like there could be a cajillion more Uncharted's based on how they ended it. I thought it was very conveniently, you know, we closed the door, but we didn't lock it. You know, it's like, oh, well, maybe they go on another adventure. Maybe they are doing this. Maybe the daughter is doing something. Maybe something with Sully and Sam. So yeah, that was my Thief's End. I am going to play Lost Legacy, but we are
wow, she is going to do it. Wow.
We're going to finally watch the movie because I was saving the movie for after finishing Uncharted 4. So
you really would have been lost if you hadn't seen Uncharted.
I had no idea. When he hung from that plane, I would have been like, well, what's going on?
What is this?
It wouldn't have felt earned, you know? But yeah, I still think some of the combat sequences are still not, you know, the gun sway and all that. I know you can change the settings, but like when it's not a set piece, it can get kind of repetitive and dry. And then if you like struggle, it's like super annoying to keep going through it. But also Barrett, the thing you called out with a long sequence, when I was doing it, I'm like, I think this might be what Barrett was talking about. I don't know. And I'm scared it's not.
The pirate ship graveyard.
Yes.
The pirate ship graveyard is very reminiscent of the last like third of Uncharted 2, where it's just like fight after fight after fight. And you're just like, I feel like I'm doing mindless action for sake of mindless action, and there are some moments where it's just like ridiculously hard just because of level design and some of the certain enemies that they put in there and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like go. You got to run up on the guy with the rocket launcher, or you're gonna die. Now, I actually didn't have that big of a challenge with it,
but I love that game. But that's the
my part came earlier, and it was like kind of a random sequence that I don't even think people would remember if I tried to explain it. That part I can see the pain point. I actually did okay in that. But that was rough because like for the heavier action stuff, I just did it because I'm better at it than my brother, even though I am actively not very good at it either. So I'm like, okay, time to put the team on my back. So I'm out here driving us through the end of this game. My whole family's watching. It was very intense. But yeah, it's done. We did it. We finally saw the ending. It was very late at night when we finished it. And I did feel the game. It was 2 a.m. when I finished, and I felt the game hangover of like sitting there with it on my dashboard and being like, all right. And then I was like, time to install Lost Legacy. But no, I didn't do that yet. I'm going to save that for later.
Vander SN in the chat says, if you don't love Lost Legacy, you'll definitely dig Uncharted Fight for Fortune.
That's the like, what is it? The Uncharted Golden Abyss. Like that's the only one I'm not touching that. Any of that other stuff.
Janet, come on, you've come this far.
I will do Lost Legacy, and we will see. Is that the best? Because there are people that say that's the best Uncharted game. I don't know if
Leslie says that.
Is there any Lost Legacy? Yep. Dorno raised hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will report back on that. I'm excited that it's not as long. Again, I think there's a lot in a lot of these games. But yeah, it was good times. It was good. I wish I didn't play 1 through 3. If you're listening to this, you don't play Uncharted, you're curious about it, don't play 1 through 3. Go straight to 4. If
just
you
watch a recap video so you understand who the characters are.
I guess. Yeah, you can. Or
in the beginning, you're gonna be completely lost. Sam's gonna ask you what you've done in the last 3 games. You're gonna have no answer.
I guess so. Because also, and again, I know people are gonna get mad about this, but I don't think the stories in 1 through 3 are good like that. I don't think the spoiler for it would be a big deal. So yeah, I would watch a recap video. I'd go to 4, play Lost Legacy. If you're so head over heels for those, you're like, I want to like really dig in. Then go back to 1, because I do think 1 through 3 kind of soured me on the franchise because I really didn't enjoy those, but I played them all because I wanted to go in order and they were all on 1 disc, and everyone said that they were really good, so I kept going and going. I wish I went straight to 4 and then came back. So that's my advice for people on the outside looking in.
Okay.
At my circus tent.
Jonathan, what did you pick on PlayStation this week?
Also Uncharted 4. No, I picked though.
It's going around, I hear.
We were in the midst of playing it. We took a break. I was having my girlfriend experience the series for the first time, and we're in the middle of 4, so we need to get back to it. So this is a good reminder. No, this past week I've really dipped back into Ollie Ollie World.
Nice.
Quite a bit. I loved it when it first came out, and it was just one of those things where it came out in February, and then Horizon came out, and Elden Ring came out, and everything else in March came out, so I put it aside. But I loved the original couple games. I think this one, from like minute 1 when I saw it, was basically like if you take the color palette of Adventure Time sort of and marry it with the excellent gameplay that Roll7 does so well. Like I am so head over heels in love with this game and so happy I've come back to it. And I wish more people would talk about it. I don't know if people just like don't want a 2D skateboarding game or what, but it is such a like tight, precise, well-playing game. Like the gameplay, the mechanics of it, the levels are so fun to get into. I think it is a gorgeous game to play. It is something that is so chill and relaxing, even when it gets tense. Like the music around it, the vibe of it is so perfect. I'm like so happy I went back to it because it's instantly now one of my like top games for the year. It's just so cool. I get that like it can be a little tough for people, but I do think with this one, it is the most welcoming Ollie Ollie game. Like the originals, if you didn't hit the button when you landed, failed, which sucks for a lot of people. Here, if you hit the button when you land, it's a bonus. So like there's instantly already an easier way to get into it. I think it's just like they clearly have such a love for skateboarding as a way of life. Like it feels very almost, I kept describing it as Adventure Time meets Rocket Power. And it's like you have this like beach town. It's weird. It's full of aliens and different creatures and all this stuff. But it's so fun. It's so cheerful. It's really exciting to be able to get back to it. I wish more people had played it. I understand why not in February. So like if this is a downtime for people and you have any inkling of interest in it, I cannot recommend it enough.
Dang.
Yeah, same. I love that game. Full disclosure, I did do a mock review of the game, but that doesn't really mean anything. It just means I reviewed it and didn't post it on the internet. And I loved it. I was very surprised because I did not like the original Ollie Ollie game for that same reason. It was still too difficult for me to grab onto. But this one's so fun and so like chill and playful. I think it does a great job catering to the high and low abilities in terms of memorizing those combos. And there's just like some fun, funky stuff in it. Like you can skateboard on a billboard carried by a giant bee. Like
who doesn't want to do that?
You know what I mean? Like pick it up. Like I like that game so much I might go out and buy it and play it again because didn't like, I didn't keep the code that I got. It was like it works differently when you do
It was
like
a build,
consulting and stuff. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
build. So I don't have that game anymore. And now that it's on PlayStation and everything, I'm like, I might just pick it up again and try to do more of a completionist run because it's so fun. The cosmetics are also very cool.
It's
and yeah,
adorable.
they have such a love letter for skating. Like one of their promotional materials was a mural on Venice Beach, which is like a popular place to skate. And I'm just like, oh man, I just love that game. And that's like my number 3 for the year, actually, Dorno. So yeah,
Awesome.
please
Yeah.
play it.
I never played it.
It's so good, and they clearly get it. I think they understood why people bounced off the other Ollie Ollies, even though I love them. I think they understand why some people felt it was too much. I think it's a more inviting game as a result. Like Jenna said, the customization is so fun. They just released the first DLC pack called Void Riders, which adds these like alien levels, and so there's sort of like alien UFO beams coming down that you can use to get lift, basically for jumps and be able to chain more moves together. It's really fun and adds to the aesthetic of everything. And like Jenna said, like you can just kind of go through and chill, enjoy just going through a level, enjoy the music, enjoy the scenery, or you can go and try to complete all 6 objectives per levels, go against friends on the leaderboards, go against, like, there's another mode where there's kind of daily or weekly challenges you can go for. You can get really, really into it, or you can just skate around and have fun. It really works in both modes.
See, I've been waiting for Skate. Like, I feel like all the Skate games that are coming are doing. I'm like, well, this sounds pretty good. Everything you just said sounds really good.
I think they scratch different itches, even though they're both skating games. Like I'm very excited to try Skate for the first time with this like new entry. Because I'm into just skating. I mean, I roller skate, so I don't skateboard, but they're similar concepts. You know, bearings, wheels, all the same kind of gear. So yeah, I'm excited to check that out. But I think they're different enough that I feel like you should check out Ollie Ollie World if you have an interest. And again, just fun stuff there. There's a challenge where it's like pop the giant purple cat balloons, or don't pop them, and you have to try to like figure out how to avoid that. Like, there's just fun. What's so great about it is I think it exemplifies the beauty of video games, where there's always well, if you can do it in real life, why not just do it in real life? And I love skating in real life, but what's great here is I can't get injured, 1. And 2, I can do stuff that I could never do, right? You're pulling off insane tricks with environments that are so specific to creating a feeling of like otherworldliness, even when it's grounded in something like a forest or a town. And there's such a beauty and mystique to that. And I think that's so brilliant in a game centered around the idea of nirvana and like kind of skating, finding like a skate utopia or a moment of harmony amongst the skate gods. Like they just snapped on it. It's real good. It's a good game.
There's a flow and an emotion it evokes that even like just a beautiful, like I think you nailed it, Janet. Like it creates this evocative sort of nature of, oh, I feel like I'm feeling something, kind of in the way weirdly when I play Tetris Effect and start to feel things. Like I feel that on a run in Ollie Ollie World sometimes. It's really good at that.
Never forget the time that Dorno and I tried to get Tetris Effect nominated for Best Story at IGN.
Yep. Yeah, we tried that hard.
How'd it go?
It didn't work out. No, it didn't work out. Not in 2018 or whatever.
You weren't ready,
that was 2018.
Yep, against God of War and Red Dead 2. We didn't get it nominated for Best Story.
You did your best, though, and I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of PS I Love You XOXO, your PlayStation podcast that posts each and every Friday. Of course, if you wanted to get it somewhere other than youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe, you go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and watch us record it every Thursday. Of course, you'd get the show ad free. You could write in to be part of the show, and you'd get the post show we're about to do. That's always there on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames waiting for you. But Dornbush, before we let go of everybody who's not coming to Patreon, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me, of course, over on IGN. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at @JMDornbush. And if you want more PlayStation goodness in your life every week, of course, Podcast Beyond posts on Wednesdays on podcast services and YouTube. And also just a shout out, because Janet reminded me, she was talking about the car chase scene, Uncharted 4. One of the things that I've really been doing for the last year is a series called Art of the Level, which I've done a lot of PlayStation ones for, including one on that car chase scene. And we had some of the Naughty Dog devs come and talk to us about it and the creation of it and all that stuff. I have another one posting this Friday, so the same day as this, on another PlayStation exclusive. So yeah, if you want to hear more about how those games got made, it's been a lot of fun to work on that series.
Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Oh, there it is.
And Barrett is also pointing out, I should mention this one because Barrett's been on it a few times. Take Your Time is a show that my co-worker, this is not IGN related, but my co-worker Tom Marks and I do, that has had Barrett Courtney on it several times. He is the third chair in spirit. And we played through Persona 5 Royal week by week along with the in-game calendar. So we played it in real time as it went on all last year. And so when it comes to Xbox and Nintendo and Steam, if you want to play it, listen along.
Well, that's awesome. Not the working with Barrett part, you know what I mean? What a drag, am I right, Janet?
I like Barrett.
God damn it, Janet. Just have my back.
Barrett's the only
I love
one
you,
who
Barrett.
really consistently is nice to me, even though I didn't finish that one game.
God, you can't even remember the name of Psychonauts 2. Why do you do this to me, Janet?
I tried to send you to medieval times, Janet.
Barrett is.
I'm not nice to you. Medieval times.
That honestly, that was like the saddest part about. I was like, and we also had plans to go to Hooters the day like we all like tested positive. So shout out to not going to Hooters with COVID. And then we wanted to go to Hooters again. We're like, okay, now we're probably gonna go to Hooters. We're all healed. And then Maggie hurt her ankle. So I don't know when I'm gonna go to Hooters. Hooters is my new Uncharted 4. I don't know when I'm gonna finish it, but I'll get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.